take first watch.
Hello, and welcome to an all-new 2026 episode of the First Watch podcast, where we are talking about 2025 in review. We've officially hit that part of the calendar where Cole and I start boxing over which year certain movies belong to, because when they release in theaters in Dallas in February, I'm inclined to say that's part of 2026 and not 2025. Today, I'm sure that we'll have a really good chance to talk about release schedules, the unique nature of 2025, even compared to years previous, in terms of where things landed, awards eligibility, and our favorites. So this is our first list episode since 2023, I believe, because we were not in the habit in the early part of 25 to talk about our favorites of 24. So you know what? Before we even do anything, before we even do anything, Morgan, what's your favorite movie of 2024?
You've put me on the spot.
I've put him on the spot.
Let me consult my lists.
I think I know what Cole's is.
Oh, it's Nora. Duh.
Honora.
Yeah.
Cole?
Nickel Boys.
Ah, okay. I thought you had La Bette. Is La Bette number two?
That's number two. It's real
Okay.
close.
Yeah, mine was No Other Land. I got to think about that one carefully because
Yeah.
there's another No Other that we'll be talking about later. So yeah, little 2024. We never really got a chance to wrap that. That was a great year. I think this was a great year. Although, well, I guess we'll have a chance to talk about some of the trends. How you guys been doing since we last convened at the Bone Temple?
Yeah, really the only thing I have to talk about is going to feature prominently towards the end of this video. So,
Yeah. Yeah. The only one for me, I think, was the new Matt Johnson, Nirvana, the show. No, Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, which I saw at an Alamo Draft House. That got a very limited release. I mean, I think that's about as much of a release as it's getting. It actually hit in like late 25, and they were doing kind of a tour, Q&As, things like that. Did you see a Q&A of this, Cole? Or did you just see
No,
it normal?
I just saw it regular. I just saw it normally.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever watched that show in your life? Either
I have
version of it?
not.
Yeah.
I have not. I was cackling like a fucking hyena during the movie.
Yeah. I've seen certain bits and clips of like the 2007, 2008 web series, and then I think they made a later version of it. I don't think it's a remake. I think it's a brand new series that they made on
It's like a
Vice.
sequel series or something.
Much higher budget. They moved from the old shitty apartment into the new house. Very fun concept for this movie. It's very, very indebted to Back to the Future. We actually like go back and we see their roots and like younger versions of them and they're interacting. Lots of insane stunt work that you wouldn't expect to be in this. I don't even know how to like give you anything. If you've seen the show, you'll understand. I mean, the basic premise is two buddies in Canada are trying to book a show at the Rivoli, which is a local venue, somewhat unsuccessfully. And they explore the concept of how their lives could have been and what it would mean to be famous with or without one another. Very sweet movie, very funny movie. I enjoyed it quite a lot. People are loving it, though. I assume mostly fans of the program, fans of Matt
Hmm.
Johnson.
Oh, for
Uh,
sure.
he was most recently seen doing Blackberry, directed Blackberry, the great Glenn Howerton performance, and then the next thing he's got coming up is an Anthony Bourdain biopic starring Dominic Sessa from The Holdovers, which sounds like a terrible idea to me, but I'm intrigued just because of who's making it. I was like, I wouldn't make a Bourdain biopic, but he's fun. He's a really fun filmmaker and unconventional.
Hmm.
Blackberry's not the movie that you think it is in some ways.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So anyway, good time with that one. Did you have any other new stuff, Cole, that you wanted to shout? I'm not going to talk about Goat. Goat sucks.
I believe you saw that.
I was gonna double it with Arco. I was gonna do the Guillermo del Toro animation as cinema double, and then I got bored and went home.
That's completely valid. Arco is fine. It's nothing special. The main thing I want to shout out really quick. I saw a early preview screening of Alpha, the latest
Yes.
film by Julia Ducournau. She was actually there
Cornell.
for Q&A after the screening. Um, it's a complete zag from her last two features, and I think that's what's driving the divisive reviews. It's a movie set in an alternate, kind of late 80s, early 90s, where there's an epidemic going around that's turning its victims into marble statues. And she talked extensively about this being an allegory for AIDS and what it was like growing up during the AIDS crisis and how that changed people in their behaviors. But this movie's about a 13-year-old girl named Alpha who gets a bad tattoo at a house party, and her mom, who's played by, I'm gonna mess this name up, and I apologize. Golshite Farahani, from About Ellie, is a nurse at a
Mm,
hospital, and she's like constantly worrying about her, and trying to make sure that she's not infected or anything. At the same time, she's taking care of her brother, Alpha's uncle, who just moved in with them. He's played by Tahar Rahim, and he has the disease that's slowly turning him into a marble statue. I found this movie really fascinating and also extremely sad. Just the way it digs into the history of stigmatism around disease, not stigmatism, but stigma and social
mhm,
prejudice, and what it's like to live with a family member who has a disease that, people become afraid of you
mm,
if you're around them.
mhm.
But I really like this a lot. I thought it was really sad. It's a little fucked up. This is releasing in New York and Los Angeles on March 27th. You guys check your local
See it when we see
listings.
it. Yeah.
June, maybe.
Yeah. On streaming. Catch this one on
Yeah,
Peacock, right?
probably
Uh,
not Peacock, but
No, I
on
really doubt.
Tubi.
hmm,
Well, it's Neon, so where
Yeah.
does Neon usually go?
Um,
Where do they go?
the Criterion Collection.
yeah,
HBO Max.
Yeah.
the channel.
Yeah. I'm very excited for this. The fact that it's so divisive, I think I've been really consistent. Not to say that I think I'm gonna love it. Like I might be one of the people out on it. It wouldn't surprise me. But the fact that it's so divisive makes me totally thrilled. I really love that Ducournau. I think Raw is one of those movies, not to say that everyone loves it or that it would have a universal approval rating, but it's very clean. It's almost like The Witch.
Mhm.
It's just like one of those horror movies that's just like airtight in many ways. And then she totally cranks the wheel 90 degrees while going 70 miles an hour into Teton, which was a very successful movie, but still weird, very much unexpected, leaning into all the Cronenberg stuff. And it seems like she's just continuing to not follow anybody else's mold of what they might expect her to be doing. So it is funny to go from like winning the Palme d'Or to instantly getting booed one movie to the next.
Listen, if you're being booed at cons, that's a good thing because they gave Amelia Perez like what, a 15-minute standing ovation. I'm just saying.
I would want
These
them to boo me too.
these
I get it.
these French pricks booed Firewalk with me for like 15 minutes straight.
Yeah.
So maybe we should blow them up. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but now they insist that the returns is TV, so it is
Whatever.
a
See, that's not
movie.
better. That's not better. That's not an
Yeah.
improvement.
At least they like turn the corner, I guess.
Kai here do television.
Yeah. Well, tune in next year to see which neon movie takes the prize. So, 2025. It's been over now for about a month and a half. It's the middle of February, just the day after Valentine's Day. I don't think any of us have quite seen the movie that we're going to be talking about on the next episode, which is the return of the cinematic terrorist Emerald Fennell to Harry, my personal friend Emily Bronte. So we're all clean on that. We haven't gotten there yet. We're not broaching that topic, but it is the day after Valentine's Day. And yeah, we're gonna wrap up on last year here before we hit into the thick of award season. Now that we've mostly been able to catch up with Cole. Mostly. It took some piracy, it took some last minute releases, but damn it, we got here. I think the one of the movies we'll be talking about later played in Morgantown for about 7 total hours before they
Yeah.
flipped it out and replaced it.
And I was like, damn, I'd really like to see that. Oh, it's no. All right. It's gone.
It's getting a Janus contemporary release in
Yeah, I was
April, I
gonna say
think. So
has to be as it is one of theirs. All right.
Hugh Janus.
So if you've ever watched one of our list episodes before, back in the Spotify era with me and Cole, how we would traditionally do this is each one of us would make a list of movies, pretty much our top 10. and then we would go through the list of top 10 and divvy them up so that that way we covered a unique set of 10. Cole would kind of introduce five based on his list. I would introduce five based on my list. And if we had something, zone of interest was certainly in both of our top fives, it would just be
Hmm.
something that one of us mentioned, and then the other person would get to go a little bit deeper down into their list. Now that we've got three people, we've modified that a little bit. Each one of us is going to talk about three plus an honorable mention for a total of 12. Uh, with that said, because we've got such unique spreads here, there are going to be movies that don't make it. So, tune in and see if your favorites are on the list. With that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and kick off because that's our rotation with my honorable mention, which is a movie that dropped pretty late on Netflix. It's one of the few Netflix things that I like really tuned in for, and that is the latest from Laura Poitras. If you see up here, I got my All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, one of the great movies of the decade, by the by, and my favorite movie of the year 2022. The Return of Her, co-directed by Mark Obenhaus, and this is called Cover Up. Cover Up is the story of a journalist, Seymour Hersh, who was kind of an independent guy. He worked for the Post, he worked for the New York Times, but really was just kind of, I don't want to say freelance, but kind of a freelancer out there doing investigative journalism. Came to prominence by covering the My Lai massacre during the Vietnam War, and particularly the cover up of that massacre. He also reported on Watergate. He also reported on the secret bombing of Cambodia. He wrote pretty much the book on Henry Kissinger, like the book on Henry Kissinger. So it is a another follow-up by Poitras where it is a profile of someone I think that you could argue similar to her. Somebody who looks at the investigative side of journalism, somebody who's interested in the halls of history that are otherwise unexplored. And I have a real penchant for this kind of movie, like not just the documentary, but specifically movies about journalism, particularly movies about journalism under duress. And I think it's just one of those things I can't help. Like I saw All the President's Men in theaters last year on 35 millimeter, and that was like one of the most depressing experiences of my life. Just the gap between what journalism was and now what journalism is. I even mentioned No Other Land as being my favorite movie of last year. That's actually still my favorite movie of the decade because it is a movie that's out there on the front lines of trying to talk about something that maybe people understand, but getting closer to it than any mainstream media outlet is ever going to let you get into it. Like more bracing, more real, more under the surface. I absolutely loved this. I think Cole, you also saw it, right? I think you
Oh
saw it
yeah,
before me, and then I tagged in after you and was like, "Oh boy,
yeah. It was only like days apart because Netflix is a great equalizer
yep,
for
for
us.
sure,
But
for sure."
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
this
this is
definitely
a.
did not make it to theaters here. Unlike All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, a movie that I saw totally alone in the auditorium.
I saw that with a pretty good sized crowd.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is a really fiery documentary about just how fucking frustrating it is that we just keep on repeating the same
Hmm.
mistakes over and over again, and
Hmm.
the assholes in power do not change. The names might change, the faces may change, but the ideology remains the same.
Hmm. Just a really good approach to a documentary. I highly recommend it if that sort of topic interests you at all. Just wouldn't be a Zach movie list if I didn't have a documentary. And keep a pin in that thought because we're not done. But that's it for me. Morgan?
Yeah, so my first honorable mention is one of the first things we caught up with in the new iteration of the
Yep.
program, uh, and something I was absolutely rapturous in my praise for, and I'm the only person with this on their top 10, I think.
I think
Yeah,
Cole's just
Yeah.
got a
anyway,
denser list than either of us, but
yeah. It's Zach Kreger's Weapons,
mm,
which we dissected with a fine-tooth comb on that episode, so I would largely refer you to that. But big thoughts. This is the movie of this year that feels like it is like the big. It's sort of like the Get Out of this year. Obviously, much less culturally resonant, but the big original movie that sort of ran away with it and
mhm,
got a sort of became a sort of tent pole and a water cooler movie in
yeah.
a way, and sort of
Oh
feels like
yeah.
it's destined to go down as one of those classics of a certain generation of like it just feels like a complete throwback to a movie that really would have caught on in like 1987 or
Mm.
something, uh, but with an extremely modern sensibility. Um, it's just I think the success of it is really just down to Kreger's skill as a screenwriter, which I
Hmm.
was. If you knew me in 2022, was that Barbarian? Or was that 23?
Yeah,
21? Oh, is it 22?
22.
Okay, yeah,
Okay. If I was around you in 2022, I was like, this should be up for best original screenplay, and I stand by that. I stand by that a little less with this one. There's
yeah.
more. Uh, it goes in other directions that I find to be more compelling, but I still think this screenplay is structurally such a ride. Um, and yeah, great
I,
movie film.
I think the main thing that I think about now is just that this is such a good comedy. You know, it's obviously a
Hmm.
thriller,
Hmm.
horror even, right? Writing those lines very similar. I would say pretty much if you make a horror movie or you make a thriller movie, you're these days you're probably crossing the line a little bit. But it's so funny and that structure and everything with Kreger, he's just all about the experience, all about like how it feels to be sitting in the seat, taking the turns with him, those hidden little drops into something else. But I mean, a friend of mine made a really good joke, and I actually think Kreger responded to it. Like it was a letterboxd review, and then he responded to the letterboxd review in a negative way, but I think it's totally accurate. Like you can tell he's got a sketch comedy background because the whole fucking movie is a big setup to an incredible final gag. Like it
Yeah,
is. The entire thing just is like laying track, laying track, laying track, and then bam, there it is. And it's just a hilarious movie. I think the only like I think I like Barbarian more. I maybe it just
yeah,
caught me more off guard. Maybe it felt a little bit more fresh. I think I had an expectation of what weapons might be about, and ultimately I'm not mad that it wasn't about that, but I think that Barbarian manages to not be about Reaganism and not be about just all the different things that it's about while still ruminating on them in a really interesting way that actually sticks with me and feels bold and even a little dangerous amid how funny and thrilling of a movie that is. This one felt a little bit more pop outy, maybe just because the floating AK-47 and all that stuff. That's really dramatic imagery. And I think I might have gotten a little bit more if it had gone a little further with some of those things. But it also just takes 17 left turns on you in a row, and it's like, okay, well, clearly I just didn't know what this was going to be, you know. There's
Hmm.
only so much you can do to market it, although the marketing campaign for this was phenomenal.
They did a fantastic job marketing this,
Hmm.
and a
The,
lot
the
of
the
key
the the
things.
kids with the arms, I mean, is immediately
Yeah.
iconic.
yeah,
Yeah, it just really grabs your attention. And then also the two things I'll say about this, I'm more impressed with his skills as a director than as a writer.
That's
Just
fair.
because, like the nature of the screenplay, you kind of have to stop and start all over again
Yeah.
after like 20 minutes.
And it
But
takes that
I mean,
skill to keep that really
mhm,
engaging
yeah. And
directing.
the ability to change from horror to comedy on a dime, like
Yeah.
if I, like for example, the scene where Justine's sleeping in the car and then, the door opens and then you
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
oh,
it is funny and scary at the same time.
Yep.
And I don't know how he pulled that off.
Yeah.
And then
In
of
a
course,
in a really
Amy
strange
Madigan.
way. Yeah,
Amy
Amy Madigan.
Madigan.
Yeah.
Oh
The
my
surprise
god.
drop. We had no idea she was even in it. For all that marketing, she wasn't
Uh-huh.
in the marketing. So when she shows up in her fucking clown makeup and wig, you're like,
Microbangs.
what planet am I on?
she's bald. She's killing people who have hair.
Oscar nominee Amy Madigan. I love it.
That's pretty cool. That does feel like the Demi Moore nod of this
Yeah,
year. I
Mhm.
think that movie's probably got a little bit less buzz, but ultimately is probably a little bit more accessible than The Substance.
more people saw it.
Yeah,
No doubt
Yeah.
about that.
that just was like that's like the big movie hit. Who put out Weapons?
Warner
Movie.
Brothers.
Warner. Warner.
Oh,
Gotcha.
weapons. Yeah,
Yep.
I thought brain.
Well, there's really two big studios in a way. Not to say that they're the only ones we're going to be talking about, but two big ones if you look at the Oscars this year. One of them being Warner, and the other one, Cole, being the studio for your next movie, which is Neon, who
Yeah.
we've already dropped a couple times.
Neon it basically almost has like a monopoly on international distribution in the United States
If
now.
it were not for Heinrich Job, I'm pretty sure they would have gone 5 for 5
Oh
in the
yeah,
international category.
they would have. But that's not how that's not how the category works. It's
Right.
not best neon film, but
Right.
well, who knows? Maybe one year it will be.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so my honorable mention is Sentimental Value by
Mhm.
Joachim Trier.
Yep.
This is a family drama
Banger.
about two sisters, Nora, who's played by Renate Reinsve, and Agnes, who's played by Inga Itzdatter Lilius. And the movie chronicles their reunion with their father, Gustav, played by Stellan Skarsgård, who's a film director and is looking to make a movie inspired by his mother's traumatic life. He wants he wants Nora to play the lead because she's a stage actress. She refuses because she grew up being the older daughter, so she was able to see the drama between her parents and divorce and all that ugly stuff. She wants nothing to do with him professionally. She can barely stand being around him. She carries a lot of resentment. Hashtag relatable. Um, so eventually he decides to start making this movie with Rachel Kemp, an American actress who played by Elle Fanning in her best turn ever. But
Yes.
something's just not clicking. She's American. She can't really get the personal family drama of what's happening here. That crucial heart intertwining throughout this movie. Um, this movie is hilarious,
Yep.
um, especially if you've seen The Piano Teacher.
Especially if you've seen Irreversible.
It's smart, it's intelligent, it's got incredible performances from everyone across the board. It's really smartly laid. It's my favorite Joachim Trier since Oslo, August 31st.
Hmm. It's my favorite of his overall.
Mm,
As someone who is a little more mild on the worst person in the world than its overall consensus, I approached this with a degree of really hope this is good, but
mm,
I ultimately really liked it. This just had a dynamic, it's basically a four-hander, right? Once you with the
yeah.
father, daughter, sister, Jim Jarmusch, and then the American. But I thought that each character was very finely sketched out. It's a subtle movie, like it's not really an emotional barn burner. It's probably going to hit
Mhm.
you closer in the chest to like something like Past Lives. And if you find that kind of thing a little too muted, then you probably are going to find this a little too muted. But I haven't really heard too much of that feedback. I think
I mean,
it's
they're
a clearly mature
Scandinavians. They're
movie.
muted. That's their nature.
But as Cole said, just really funny, really well written, really well acted. I mean, I don't think that it's like my next favorite movie by any means, but just one of those stick to your ribs, incredibly solid, great movies of the year.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It hasn't really occupied too much of my mind space
Mm,
since I saw it. Um, but yeah, it's really just like performance showcase,
hmm
and those movies are important.
hmm Yeah, definitely gonna bag Stellan Skarsgård's Oscar this year. Like almost doubtless. I don't know that it's winning anything else, but I'm almost confident that it will win Best Supporting Actor. Because he's not a
Yeah.
fucking supporting actor, but that's neither here nor there. They
Look,
put
if you
him
want
on
to
the
get into
cover and they didn't put either of the other girls on the cover of the Criterion edition because he's the main character.
that ugly cover, oh my
Really,
God,
really chat
Very
GPT vibes.
depressing.
hideous.
I also don't
If
get like
if I was
why
Joachim, I would have been like, "Can I? No, hang on.
It should have been
Let's go
just
reject.
back to
the
the drawing
house.
board."
Yeah,
It
just
should
the
have been just the
house.
house.
I like the main poster for it, where it's just like their faces and they're kind of like nestled. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, good movie. I do think that we've had a fair chance to discuss it. I think that, you know, yeah, just really solid, really like good bones to the whole thing. That's what I would say. So back around, I think this is another movie. Well, we haven't talked about a movie release for this yet, but we have talked a little bit about movie, and that is the follow-up to Albert Sarra's Pacifiction, a movie that Cole and I both greatly enjoyed. That I don't know that other people have seen, but we've seen it, and it's great. Speaking of Benoit Magimel from The Piano Teacher, that's a wonderful fictional film. But keeping in the trend. It's my second documentary on the list. Well, my first for the official part of the list. And that is Afternoons of Solitude. I watched about an hour of this after Cole saw it, and my buddy Adam saw it in New York as well with Spike Lee in attendance. He was like sitting in front of or behind Spike Lee, and I was like, that's crazy. But it is a documentary about a bullfighter. It's a documentary about bullfighting, and it is difficult to pitch this in any way that is not going to make it sound horrendous and unwatchable. But follow me on this. It's basically a unadulterated, unadorned, bracing look at the spectacle, the violence, and the mundanity of bullfighting. If you've never watched a bullfight like a real one, maybe you've seen Bugs Bunny do his thing, and it's a little different. It is gruesomely violent. It is not,
Hmm.
hey, we killed a beast. It is, we stabbed it repeatedly. We watched the blood trickle out of its body. We watched its eyes roll back in its head as it took its last breaths, and flies are starting to congregate, while a crowd of spectators goes absolutely fucking bug shit in the audience. This is a hypnotic movie. It is really rooted in like the routine. It is my favorite kind of style of making a documentary. There's no talking heads. There's no point being made. You are just in this world, observing it precisely how it is, and it leaves you to draw your own conclusions. It's repulsive, but it's magnetic. I don't recommend it to anybody unless that sounds like a really good idea to you. But I knew from watching it, like I said, I got interrupted. Whoever knows what's going on in my life anymore. But I watched that first hour of it, and I was like, man, I can tell this is just sensational. Watching the first hour of it again was difficult. It is not an easy movie to sit through. I won't front with you about that. It's not a pleasant movie. It'll make you want to like become an activist, maybe, but it's profound and it's powerful. And I think it's also kind of a fun note because we'll be talking about another slow cinema director here in just a bit, who has that relationship with Albert Serra. I won't say the name just so I don't spoil it, but I was actually just kind of thinking as I saw the next movie Cole's going to mention about how Serra and this director are actually like, connected in a way. And I was like, oh, it's kind of fun that they both made the list.
Yeah, people from the Iberian Peninsula are fucked in the head, which is the
Yeah.
common theme there.
Shouts to Ernest Hemingway and his great novel The Sun Also Rises. There's
It,
also if this interests you at all, which again, like I'm really trying to make the case, like don't wander into this one blindly. But there's another great movie from the 1970s called The Moment of Truth, which is an Italian production.
mhm.
Director goes into Franco's Spain, shooting the bullfights with this 300 millimeter soccer camera, and this is a lot like that. But it's even bigger and bolder, better camera technology, obviously not working against the constraints, and dropping off some of the rote drama that because that's not a documentary. The bullfighting in that movie is real, but it's
Mhm.
a fictional film. This is just like in there. You're just plugged in there, and you don't want to be. I don't know. I'm gonna try to stop pitching this movie I love as if it's like the most evil thing ever made,
Yeah,
it
it's not gonna
truly,
reach for the screen and stab you.
but
Like,
it truly has rancid vibes. Like it's not good.
well, yeah, because you're following a bullfighter, and it's almost shocking just like how blunt and raw the footage he gets is because
The
it's just this
access that he
guy
has is
getting ready, getting
crazy.
prepared, putting on that goofy ass outfit.
He was looking good though. What? What do you want me to say?
Sure, sure,
Not
sure.
that.
Just not when he's covered in blood. Like, no,
I'll
which
withhold
is
my sentiments on this.
Yeah, stop that.
okay. Before we get stricken down from YouTube,
But yeah, that's
uh,
Afternoons of Solitude.
yeah, no, incredible documentary. Just really goes into the nature of this thankfully declining
Hmm.
sport. It
Yeah.
it is on its way out. It's slowing.
I
It's
I
dying a
imagine
slow
that
death, but it is dying.
if we think about these generational schisms from millennial to Gen Z to Gen Alpha, whatever, I do think that we'll continue to see diminishment and diminishment and diminishment. But you are talking about, how do people respond to those years, decades, generations of culture? And people
Mhm.
are freaks about sports, which we know here in America. Like, because in America we don't have bullfighting, but we do have like NFL players giving each other CTE and then attacking people on methamphetamines or PCP in the streets years after their careers are over. So I think in a way, to me, it speaks to the overall nature of fandom, sports culture, and the things that we stomach for the sake of our own entertainment.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean the shots of the bulls in this are just mind blowing.
Yeah. Yeah, the I made the comment, and I know you have too, Cole, but like the access that he was given here. You kind of went on that
Hmm.
tour of Frederick Wiseman, and one of the Wisemans that I watched last
Still
year,
working
not
on it.
not a new movie by any means, it's called Law and Order from 1969, and you watch that and you're like, so why did the police let him film this? Like, they look like assholes here. You wonder
Yeah.
how he does it, how that happens, because it's implicitly so ugly
Hmm.
and so critical.
He just must be a really, really nice guy because the only time he ever actually like really got in trouble was one Titty Cut Follies,
Yeah.
which was banned in the state of Massachusetts until 1990.
Mm.
Um, and then The Garden, which is a documentary about Madison Square Garden that he filmed in 1997. There were copyright issues, or they didn't like what he filmed, and then so he finally put it together in 2005, but it ended up not getting released, and then it only leaked online in 2018.
So those two were the documentaries for me, Cover Up and Afternoons of Solitude. Were there any others on your list at all that mattered?
You know,
Not just like the Putin doc that looked mid.
that's a movie about a Harry Potter loving millennial who thinks that, playing Born This Way is, fighting fascism or whatever. Let me check my list real
Yeah, I was
quick.
just curious if anything slipped. I know I've seen a couple more, but nothing that was really nearly as high up as these two.
I don't know. I mean, I liked Below the Clouds. That's okay. Ghost Elephants was okay, but not like anything
Yeah,
particularly high up.
yeah.
I'll
Well,
be
that ends the
watching
none.
I don't
Sorry,
be
Morgan.
watching documentaries.
Yeah.
They don't
I
they don't get theatrical releases in this state.
Yeah, I love it. I almost
Ooh.
always, especially in this time of year, end up going through like a phase of watching a lot of documentaries, catching up from the award nominations or whatever,
Hmm.
because things all become kind of accessible at once. And documentaries are the type of movie that I can just put on almost any time and sit through. Obviously there are very entertaining movies in the world. Like I could watch Pulp Fiction anytime, right? Not hard to do that. But when it
Uh-huh.
comes to some of the things that we'll talk about on this list, or things that we've already talked about, like sentimental value is not something I could, or a movie like sentimental value is not something I'd put on all the time, but I can basically just pop a documentary on and go, and not
Hmm.
really, I like them in the morning. I just they're kind of less open-ended. Like a documentary kind of hits certain things, and there are certain things that you expect to get out of it, and I think that
Hmm.
that structure almost helps my brain get along with them a little bit more nicely than a fiction movie, which could be anything, as some of the later movies that we'll talk about truly are. Well,
Well,
one of
then you
them
should
in
watch
particular.
Logistics. That's a documentary.
Oh my goodness, you and your fucking 87-week long movie. It's gonna take you till
30
the year 2045 to finish it.
2028. It's not that long.
That's 2 years.
Yeah, in case anyone's
I'll just
wondering, I'm watching Logistics, which is a 35-day and 17-hour long documentary about a pedometer traveling backwards from Stockholm to China. I'm watching it in 8-hour chunks on YouTube. It's a 137, not 137, it's 107 8-hour videos.
That's
So it's free if
fucking
anyone wants to join
insane.
in.
Insane.
It's kind of cool.
Just watching
I,
it on
I
10x speed.
I'll just repeat my sentiment that I shared in the group chat is that Cole could watch The Leftovers 30 and change times before he finished this movie, and I can't even get him to watch it once.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't do
Insane.
TV.
Yeah, this is how is it different? I don't know how it's different. Anyway, Morgan, what you got?
Yeah, so the next one I will shout out is Lynn Ramsey's Die My Love.
Hmm.
Uh, the Jennifer
Mm,
Lawrence show. Is she up for this Oscar?
Now.
no, she got a Globe nomination, but
Yeah.
What
Her
a
her her seat's pretty much being filled right now by Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which I think is a
yeah.
distinctly similar type of movie.
Yeah, and you know it could be a better performance. I don't know. I wouldn't rule out that
No,
possibility. But the point is, Lawrence is just burning your fucking house down in this movie.
career best, right?
Oh my
Oh
God,
yeah,
Okay,
it's
easily.
yeah,
like
yeah. I mean, I'm
uh
trying to
Well,
think. It would probably be Winter's Bone for me after this, I
I
think.
think we'll have a contender for that title in this upcoming film of hers, the new Scorsese, that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I mean, we'll see with that. As a man who maybe has directed three bad performances in his 25 plus movie career, and they're
yeah.
all in Gangs of New York. Uh,
Damn, damn. Catching
it's re
strays on a Sunday.
yeah. Um, no, he directed Boxcar Bertha. That's fine. Um,
Yeah.
Hey, we all got to start somewhere.
yeah, it's not his first movie. Um, didn't start nowhere. Um, what the fuck? Yeah, Die My Love. Uh, you know, Robert Pattinson is also great in this movie. It's probably easily a top 10 turn of his, probably maybe top five, maybe not. Uh, but this really is the Jennifer Lawrence show, and she's
Mhm,
just like the word fearless would be what you use to describe it because it's erotic and frightening and ugly and
mhm.
strange and endlessly compelling. My
Hey,
little joke review on Letterboxd, because I couldn't think of anything too substantial to actually say, was finally Eraserhead for women. And I 100% stand by that, but
Yeah.
it is like it goes off in such a wildly different direction that sentiment might make you think of. Like it gives you an idea of this movie that is really not all that similar to what it is. Um, Primarily because it is such a performance movie in a way that Eraserhead really
mm-hmm.
isn't.
Mhm.
Uh, but shouts to Jack Nance. Um, yeah, it's really Lynn Ramsey don't fucking miss.
Nope.
Every time she makes a movie, it's an earth-shattering event.
I would
Mhm.
like it to happen more than once a decade, but you know, beggars, choosers. So
Yeah.
her next movie is, I think, has wrapped production. It stars Joaquin Phoenix and Rooney Mara,
Oh God, he's
and
back.
yeah. Uh, so the pitch is like a fisherman finds and meets the devil out on the ice or something like that. And
Okay.
I don't know who's playing the devil of those two. Uh, I put it in front of me.
Yeah. I'm ready for Joaquin Phoenix to be good in a movie
Yeah,
for the first time since 2021.
yeah.
That sounds great. This one, Die My Love, I think this might be the most polarizing movie on our entire list. I bet if we ranked all these by average rating, it would be the lowest. Because I think there's a lot of people who just aren't going to be responsive to how much of a mood piece it is. Like it's a performance piece, to your point, Morgan, but it's
hmm
not like a character drama piece. It's a character psychology piece. It's a mood. It's a thing. It's also distinctly unpleasant in many regards. The two things that it most reminded me of, one of them is the Babadook, because it just reminds me of
Yeah.
that Essie Davis performance.
Oh
There's
yeah.
a little dog action happening in both of these movies that's pretty similar. Just using that like every technique in the book to get under your skin to capture this feeling of being a woman in the world, period, of being sexually frustrated, of being bored, uh, you know, uh, um, and frustrated and unfulfilled. And it just goes to some really feral places. The other thing that it reminds me of, and this turned out to be a very important comparison for me through the back half of the year, is to one of my favorite short stories, The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, which is a basically woman with bad mental health gets like chained into a room. Like you need bed rest, and so she cannot leave this single space, and she is just loses her fucking shit, right? Like just loses her mind. It
Love
is
that
one of
part of Train Spotting where the baby shows up on the ceiling.
the even the way that that movie rotates is very yellow, and Trainspotting is very yellow wallpaper. But that's a great example of American Gothic fiction up there with things like Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House and stuff like
Mm.
that. One of the great genres, and we are sitting in a year. well, over the bridge of 2 years where we've had Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, Luc Besson's Dracula for some fucking reason, and now Emerald
Awful
Fennell's
movie.
Wuthering Heights. And Wuthering Heights isn't really a gothic, but it's extremely indebted to the gothic. Like it just you couldn't have that book if the gothic genre did not exist. And yet this is the one. This sort of, and this is a novel adaptation. It's not, original. It's not based on anything, but I'm sure that Lynn and co were like smart enough to pull from more than just the novel because it is so distinctly gothic. It is so distinctly um emotionally founded on such real shit and like unpleasant things. To me, and I will continue my comparison to If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which is a very fun movie and a very good movie. That one was written and directed. It's so is the woman that made Cole. That's the co-writer of Uncut Gems, right?
So
Or
Mary
No, that's his
co-producer,
Bronze,
wife.
that's
producer or
his
something.
wife.
It's
Yeah,
like a
Mary
Mona
Bronstein
Fastful kind of Brady
is
Corbet
married
thing.
to Ron Bronstein, who produced Uncut
There we
Gems.
go.
Uncut
Uncle
Gems.
Jones, where I was Josh Safdie's muse. Um,
Sounds like a thing no one should want to be now.
I think the role of Josh Safdie's muse is to take your clothes off. I think that's really all that entails.
We need to put that
this
man in a bear trap.
to me, Die My Love felt more real and more urgent. If I Had Legs, I Could Kick You is very entertaining, but really, I mean, it has characteristics like those softy movies where you're almost in this like cartoon escapade of crazy, wild, stressful shit happening. There's a hamster scene in that that's like the hardest I've laughed at anything in a really long time, except for watching Jay McCarroll get shoved off the top of the CN Tower. That was also up there. Um,
Hey, I didn't know we have a.
I just made plans for that for Wednesday,
oh,
by the by.
funny fucking
Oh
movie.
yeah.
But this, I just think she just has such a command of text, of tone, of character. Thrilling to have her back after You Were Never Really Here, which is just a heater of a movie. And glad to hear that she's going to be back in the booth and not leaving us right away again for 10 more years.
Yeah, that's it's one of
Mhm.
the certainly. I mean, it was a 5-star movie for me, so it is obviously in the conversation of best of the decade thus far. But it is really going to stand out, I think, more and more as the years roll by. It's sort of in like the 8 or 9 or 10 spot for me right now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But
I,
and
I
I would be shocked if it goes any higher than that at any
yeah.
point. But it's just wildly good.
I'll also share a story. This is going to sound weird. I saw this on Facebook because Mubi, when they have these releases, they fucking slam the marketing on social media. You'll run into clips all day long on Instagram, Facebook, if you follow Mubi or if Mubi gets put into your feed. And I saw this really thoughtful comment by somebody who, like, if they had Letterboxd, probably would have given it a 2.5 to 3 star rating. But I even like replied and paid them a compliment because it was just like they were having to work through it in their mind. They're like, well, I didn't really like this, but I relate to this part of it and I see how this is upsetting, but it went a little too far. Like it was just the gears were turning in their minds. And I just thought that was
Uh-huh.
almost a beautiful compliment to pay Ramsey in this movie that it makes you think. Like it puts you through a ringer and makes you digest what it is you're watching. It's not something that you're going to do half-assedly
Yeah,
and get anything of
eventually.
value out of it anyway.
Mhm. Yeah, eventually at some point you understand in life ways to see space that carried around that big fucking rifle.
Goddamn right. I love her. One of the
She's
goats.
so she's so good in this. So
Yeah.
Mar
salty.
Married to Jack Fisk, the production designer of Marty Supreme.
Oh
Ah,
yeah. Okay, that's
They
right.
met on Terry Malick's Badlands.
ah.
Aw, that's sweet.
He's a fucking genius.
He
Like,
is.
good Lord,
Yeah.
what a
Yeah.
body of work.
Yeah.
And like far and away the best part of Marty Supreme is the production design.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels very distinctly 50s. Yeah, that's the spoilers. Not a movie that made our list. You probably heard us talk about that already if you're engaged, but
Yeah, I
probably
mean
probably
it
cruising
wouldn't.
towards Best Actor, but I wouldn't vote for it for Best Actor.
Yeah, no.
He's my fifth out of that category easily.
Maybe
I
it's a
was
good
at
time for him to win it just so I have to hear less about it
Yeah,
as the
for
you know
years
what?
real.
go
I was
on.
at brunch yesterday and I was sitting next to these two older ladies who I'm sure were Academy voters because they were talking about all the different nominations. And one of them said that she was going to vote for Marty, even though she couldn't she can't stand Timothy Chalamet because he was so good at playing himself in the movie.
And yet not as
Sure.
good as Adam Sandler or Robert Pattinson, star of
Yeah.
Die My Love, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
Sandler completely dog walks him. This is a good
But
performance and a good
They
movie, but
also
yeah,
both really loved Frankenstein, so make of that what you will.
I'm gonna kill myself.
I
So
make I make not one thing of that.
yeah, it's like watching people defend Wuthering Heights, Wuthering Heights, and it's like,
Old
shut the fuck up.
fucking old people ass movie anyway.
I will say Wuthering Heights is underperforming a little bit, at least domestically.
Yeah, it's getting the shit kicked out of it by everybody who's ever read the book.
Or read a book, it seems.
And apparently not horny enough to satisfy the general masses. So then you
Right.
end up with this weird gray spot where no
Well,
one
this is a woman whose most transgressive sexual idea is like eating a girl out on her period. So, you
Fucking
know,
some dirt.
yeah, dumb as fuck. Anyway,
She's a
I'm just
space
saying,
alien.
you know what?
she's
If
just
COVID had
English.
never happened, Promising Young Woman would have been a flop and we would not be dealing with this problem.
And instead, it's an Oscar winner. Anyway,
I'm
Could have just
tired.
skipped the ceremony that year, honestly.
so, Cole,
All right, so I'm going to talk about a movie that who knows could pop up on next year's list too, because
yeah, it could.
if you've listened to this show in any capacity, you know I'm the guy who lives in LA.
Right,
I get more stuff. I see all of it earlier, and I usually have to wait for these two guys to catch up,
right.
which
Which
has
just
led to
happened
some
last week for this
arguments
movie. Yeah.
about whether this is a 2025 movie or not. I am saying it is.
It all depends on where you live, where you reside, because like I
Mhm.
said, this just had the theatrical here last week in the second week of February, which
And
is
this
pretty,
will and this just won't get a theatrical here.
right. The release for you will be when it hits Mubi on streaming. Mubi,
Yeah.
right?
I No, this is Janice.
You're right. Gosh, I keep forgetting that. You're right. It's Janice. Janus.
Hugh Janus. First name Hugh, last name Janus.
Well, hey, you know what? At least that Blu-ray is gonna look crisp.
God, I can't wait. But no, this is Magellan, directed by Lav Diaz. Probably his most accessible feature.
I would
You
have to
know,
guess
one of
so,
the
because it's the
easiest
only
bases
one
to
that's not
start.
5 hours. It's a brisk, brief 2 hours and 45 minutes.
And it just flies
Okay.
right by. Um, but no, this is a biopic in a sense of Magellan, the famous Portuguese explorer who discovered well, discovered Southeast Asia, particularly the Philippines.
Yep.
And you see
The
him
Magellan
traveling
Strait.
around. He goes back to Portugal, hangs out with his wife,
Yep.
hangs out in the royal court. Everyone's got fucking diseases and gangrene and
Gangrene
bad
and
limbs, and
yeah.
he's got a rotting hole in his knee, and it's just all gross and disgusting. And then he goes sailing back to the Philippines, and who does it take a long time to get there? It's a long voyage. You're trapped on a boat with a power hungry lunatic, you know, throws priests overboard, leaves them on deserted islands. And then you get to the Philippines and he starts interacting with the locals. And, he uses his supply of jams and jellies to heal a child. And he pretends that, it's a miracle of Christ. And then he tries to start forcing Christianity down these people's
Mhm.
throats, destroying their culture, their heritage. And then they decide they have enough. So they're like, we're going to kill this guy. And guess what? They
Indeed.
did.
Indeed.
This movie actually got a little bit of controversy around historians because in the Philippines, Magellan was killed by Lapu-Lapu. And while no one can really quite pin down who he was, he's believed to have been an actual historical figure, like a singular person who took Magellan down. This movie argues that Lapu-Lapu was the community, it was the group, it
Hmm.
was a larger collective of people
Yeah.
destroying the colonizer.
I read that as entirely symbolic. It is the nation rejecting its oppressor, right? There may have been a
Mhm.
single guy, but instead of being like, "Oh, look at this national hero," it's like we are we're rejecting you. Your heroism is shit. Your fame is shit. Um, this is very Aguirre, the Wrath of God It's very Terrence Malick, The New World, and it's very
Hmm.
like if We're Say Cool Joe directed one of those movies. It's more narratively engaged than a lot of Joe's movies are. I'm sure more than most Lav Diaz movies are. Just
Hmm.
eventful. Lots. I mean, even when you're in dead time, it's still pretty eventful. There's still stuff going on. But
Yeah.
just the imagery. One of my favorite parts of this is right before you cut back to Portugal, you're like on a river. I think they're on a barge. And there's just this heavy rainstorm happening, and it just
Hmm.
intensifies and intensifies and intensifies. And you just have the sense of real natural beauty against all the violence and the conquest and stuff. I guess
Hmm.
Godland would be another movie that this reminds me
Oh
of,
yeah,
by
absolutely.
Hilmir Palmason.
Hmm.
Just these like colonial pictures, particularly, so obviously Lav Diaz is from the Philippines, and then this is a co-production of like Spain, Portugal, France, like a bunch of European countries. So you
Hmm.
get like a lot of the historical reality of all these different places, and they all feel really textured and lived in.
Yeah, this is not a movie that shies away from anything about how ugly it was to live back then,
Right,
how horrid the treatment of the Filipinos by the colonizers were,
right.
and just like the brutality of it all.
Hmm.
Yeah, there are really two things. This is yet another movie that I have not seen, and these other two fools have. Uh, uh, Two things that really compel me about this are one, 2 hours and 40 minutes of Gael Garcia Bernal.
Facts.
Can't hate.
Incredible in
Uh,
this.
and the second is uh movies that could explore how absolutely disgusting it was to be a seafaring explorer
Hmm.
in a certain period of time.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to think of a movie that does that in a more committed way than this. Maybe
Hmm.
the Odyssey, when that comes out, will have some, at least dynamic Christopher Nolan version of it. But this is like the seediness, the danger, the disease, the slavery, like all of it.
Hmm. Yeah.
But really good. I mean, this was I watched this late and almost thought at one point or another I might like nod off because it's kind of a relaxing movie, especially when you're in the jungle. It's like at the first hour of it or whatever. It's like, wow, I could almost nod off here. But
Hmm.
ultimately, was pretty locked in. Bernal
Yeah.
is. I would not say it's really near the top of his, and it has nothing to do with this performance. It's just that the top of his career is like some of the best shit I've ever seen. But he just completely bulletproof. Favorite piece of trivia is that Lav Diaz came up with the idea of casting Bernal while having sex, a threesome, I believe, with Albert Serra and one other person. I don't know who all was there, but it's the fucking hilarious clip where he has a translator who's translating for him, and he says, yeah, I thought about this while we were having a menage, and the translator's like, wait, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, no. While I was having a menage, like he doubles down on it, and it is the funniest damn thing I've ever seen. So,
That poor translator.
It is so funny to be a
Like,
translator who's like,
yeah,
and then they said, "What?"
like you're at a festival,
Okay.
your movie's being seen by like 250 senior citizens.
right.
And directors' careers have been tanked by what they say at festivals. So
Indeed. Hi, Lars.
there's, yeah, there's really,
Oh
that's
God.
no obviously nowhere near that incident,
Right.
but there's still a moment of pause in the moment, I imagine, of just like, Sh
Can
are you
he say
sure? Are you sure you want me to? Okay.
Like, well, this is going in the Hollywood Reporter, right?
Mm.
that?
Going in Deadline. But yeah, no,
And if I looked like
gorgeous.
Lav Diaz, I would be like, yeah, I fuck. I would want people to know that.
I think this is at the top of my 26 list. I did ultimately elect to count it there, and so I've got
Uh-huh.
one truly banger great movie on the board.
See, that's good.
Yeah,
I did acquiesce to your insistence, and I put Alpha on top of my 2026 list.
yeah. It's truly like the way that I see it is everybody's list is their own list. I try to keep consistent. Like I'll look at yours, Cole, because yours is usually quite developed. Davey, our friend of the pod, is a big proponent of using Oscars eligibility because it's a concrete thing that you can
Yeah,
use. Um,
it's
my
something you
my
can measure.
thing, we've beaten this horse to death between just us friends, but I'll say it because I don't think I've ever really talked about it too much on the show. is like I think about Evil Does Not Exist, which came out just a few years back. That
Mhm.
dropped in fucking May. Like I can't. I'm sorry. I don't care what the voter eligibility was. It's May. We've had 5 months of new releases, and then it came out. That makes it a new release for
And I
this
was like,
year.
oh, that I was like, oh, that's a 2023 movie. I saw that back in October.
Right. At a festival though, right? I
Yeah,
am I am
and
pretty adamant
again,
about that. Like limited theatrical, we could argue, and I also like,
and yeah, it would have had to get a limited theatrical in order to
yeah,
qualify.
your the number one movie on your list was something that dropped here in January, and that's enough of a grace period for me personally to say like Zone of Interest, that was a January movie, 2023. But then as soon
Mhm.
as we got into like I want to say Perfect Days and other things that were also part of that Oscar eligibility window, it was like, yeah, but it came
Taste
out
of
on
things.
Valentine's Day. Yeah, Valentine's Day. I'm sorry, I already saw Primate and the Bone Temple, so the year has begun. And
The
that's just
issue
kind
is
of how
that
it is for me.
yeah, I live here and you
Yeah.
live
Yeah, so you
there,
have like the California release date and I have the US release date.
there.
But then even the movie that I was just referring to, Morgan only got it this month. So it's like you have it 25, I have it 25. Morgan could justifiably put it 26. And that's like a
I
split not
wouldn't,
between you and me, but
but
between yeah. I if it fucking took that long to get here, I'd probably put it on 26 myself. That's what I would do. But it's obviously it's not important, right? I don't work for any publication. Nobody's really looking
Mhm.
at me to set the standard. It just at a certain point I gotta, admit when a movie comes out when it came out.
I do enjoy, getting to lord over the fact that
Yeah,
I've seen
I'm
these
sure
movies
you
earlier
do.
and be like, hey, I know something you don't, haha. But
Yeah.
it does get a little annoying sometimes when stuff takes so long to roll out too.
Because it's fun to share with your friends. Like when you see
Yeah,
something
like
and it's
I
exciting
can't
and
really talk about it. I can be like, hey, this
right.
is good, and then I gotta wait like half a fucking year.
And then once we see it, you're like, yeah, okay, I'm on the other thing now. I'm on to 26
Yeah.
movies because it came out in 26. So it's really not like anytime that conversation's ever come up, it's not like an insult to anybody. Although I do find it really frustrating. I mean, I
Mm.
understand, they've only got the money to do a limited release, like the Nirvana movie, Nirvana the band movie. That's not going to go wide. Like that's not going to hit every theaters like Wuthering Heights is going to hit every theater. It's not what
Hmm.
it's going to do. But this shit of hey, we're gonna drop it, select here, drop it a little bit more here, drop it a little bit more. Like that stuff just drives me bananas. I don't understand it. It doesn't seem productive. But then again, Zone of Interest, which was the big one from a couple years ago that
Hmm.
did hit in January, made $50 million because it had the Oscars buzz. And so I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
Yeah, and oh, I just remembered that. Yeah, I did get to see the Zone of Interest on 35 millimeter.
Yeah.
That was fabulous.
Yeah. I miss they did since we're in a lull. La 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 la
And
la la
then
la.
and
I
then
did
you
almost
getting
go
mad that
see
like the new Miyazaki came out and I wasn't even aware of it apparently.
New Miyazaki.
Yeah, Boy and the Heron, because I was like, oh wait, that's already playing here, and you were like,
Oh, I don't remember that. I remember going to see it in IMAX. I thought that you saw it before me. I just would have assumed that you did.
no, I did. But that's the thing. Like, I wasn't even aware that it was like already playing.
Oh, in other parts of the country, you mean?
No, in LA,
Oh,
the first weekend that dropped, I was like, oh wait, this is coming out Thanksgiving. Okay.
I think I saw that a little. I think they might have had like an advanced IMAX screening. I had a poster from it,
Mm,
and usually when
yeah,
you get a poster, it's because you saw it early. Banger. I gotta buy that still. I own all of his other movies, but not that one yet. Because
yeah,
the
I gotta
other
pick
ones all
that
came
up.
in a box.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll probably do the 4K, I guess.
Probably
I'm just gonna
would
wait.
look good on that.
I don't want to start the
Yeah,
next one
no,
till Morgan's back.
yeah,
Because
no,
I
you're
think we're
good.
we're in the chunk of the list where he's seen
Hmm.
everything but your next one. Your list
Yeah.
this year, buddy. Sentimental Value being like the only like truly accessible and normal one. Accessible
Uh,
from the perspective of distribution, not accessible from the perspective of the other way that we say that word about movies.
I got Sinners at my number 10. Come on.
I'm saying of the ones that we're talking about here.
Oh, well,
All three
everybody
of
should
these were
just
like,
people should just live where,
yeah, I
the
guess.
movie culture is. I don't know.
Yeah. As long as we're breaking, I'm gonna go ahead and use the restroom as well.
Okay, sounds good. Nothing else running right to the core. That's not from all the things from all the else coming before. I split the apple on symmetrical lines, and what I find is kind of scary, makes me just want to drive. In your car, radio up, in your car, the radio up. I keep trying to talk about us. Friday afternoon crush, violent and overnight rush. I'm just super proud of us. So, who's excited for Act 3, May 29th, 2026? Rock and roll album on the way. B's gonna fucking kill it as she usually does. Johnny Mitchell for the crown.
Ooh.
Load
All
off
right.
my mind.
Indeed. Indeed. All right. So the next movie on my list is the biggest grower for me on my list from the moment that I walked out of the theaters to really a few hours after that. It solidified itself in my mind because, for reasons that we can talk about, I think here, um, it just kind of threw me off. I didn't 100% know what to make of it or what to think of it. And that's a fun place for a movie to leave you in. It can be a frustrating place, but when it's really well done, it'll have you thinking about it and mulling it over and turning it over in your mind for several days afterwards. So this is my one and only rating bump, I think, from 2025 so far, where I went from a 4 star to a 4.5 because I was just like, this is the
Mm.
bomb. This is also my pick for Best Actor by a mile, and it is also my favorite Best Picture nominee, although not my favorite Oscar nominee of the year. That will be my next movie. But this is The Secret Agent, O Agente Secreto, by Kleber Filho. How do you pronounce that? I don't
Filo,
know.
yeah.
I don't speak Portuguese, so I will just not try it. But Wagner Moura is the lead of this. Um, it's got a little bit of a deceptive title, I would say. You know, if you're coming into Secret Agent thinking you're going to watch a James Bond movie or even Black Bag or something to that effect, check those expectations. This is a city movie. This is about Recife, which is a place in Brazil. This movie takes place in the 70s, and it's all about the colors, the cultures, the history, including, you know, the Nazi history, German history of that place, and how it all collides into an era of, I think he called it mischief in the film. Mischief is the word that they used, which is a very playful way of saying a lot of people died, and we don't know all the facts and all the names because but the government and just social unrest was in such a place, and our method of record keepings in that era and probably their methods of record keeping as we see are pretty tainted. And it's really kind of a movie about those lives lost in the shuffle of revolution, those lives that are lost in the shuffle of war, fascism, and a million other things. And it is a stirring movie. It's a heartwarming movie. It's a really intelligent movie. It's a really funny movie at points, with just like some incredible stop motion effects and things, like really just doing it all and on a tiny little budget, which admittedly, if you're filming in Sao Paulo or wherever in Brazil, it's probably cheaper than filming in LA for sure, or New York or something. But boy, this is maybe outside of one other movie, my favorite looking movie of this year. Just the texture and the color. I was blown away to learn that Secret Agent had digital cinematography because it just looks so saturated and rich visually. Um, really incredible stuff. And I think we're all pretty enthusiastic about this one.
Yeah, this is my favorite of the Best Picture nominees. This is also my Best Actor pick. Frankly, I think it should win Best Casting as well. The ensemble in this movie is
Hmm.
unbelievable.
For sure.
Love Tanya Maria, the old chain smoking granny.
Yeah. Compared to I'm Still Here, right? That's the Brazilian pick from last year that had
Hmm.
that's a good movie. This one really hit me, you know. And like I said, I think I could have walked out of that theater and almost, like, if I had knee jerked it, hit it with like a 3 star or something because I was so, oh wow, what is this? Where is this? I haven't seen Pictures of Ghosts, which is almost like a sister movie. It's like a documentary about old movie theaters, torn down movie theaters, abandoned movie theaters in Recife. But it's
Hmm.
really, I mean, just when you really lock into it as a city movie and as like a period movie about this time and this place, I think it's quite magical.
Yeah, I was rapturous on it the last time I
Hmm.
checked in with it. I think that was just the last episode. Um, it's only grown in my mind, uh
Hmm.
more a clearing of the five nominees, like not even really all that close
Hmm.
between that and whatever the second pick would be,
I
even.
guess I'd probably go Leo or
Yeah,
Jordan. You could go Jordan.
yeah,
That would be a good win. Like that would be a pleasing win
yeah.
for sure.
Hmm.
He's like the only real movie star that we have from the last 10 years. So
Who's the
that,
fourth? Because obviously Chalamet is there as well, but I'm struggling to remember who's four.
Well, Ethan Hawke
Ethan
yeah,
Hawke. That's right. That's a great performance
for
for
Blue
sure.
Moon.
I'm
Yeah,
not
and
as I'm not
honestly,
as over the blue moon as others, but it is a really good performance, and I love Ethan Hawke, so can't be
it'd
mad
be a
about it.
satisfying career win if that
For sure.
happened.
Definitely, for sure. It's definitely the better of the two Linklater movies from last year too. Blue Moon.
Hmm. For sure.
As somebody who did enjoy Nouvelle Vague, it's like it's not close.
As someone who slept through Nouvelle Vague, Blue Moon kicks its ass.
Yeah, fair enough. The French are silly people.
this is really the only thing from last year that I'm like, why didn't I, haven't I watched those yet?
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
Nouveau Vogue is a little bit the breathless of it all, but Blue Moon, I have no excuse. Yeah, Secret Agent, spectacular.
Yeah.
Just a real
Fabulous.
something. It's like Zach said, sticks to your ribs earlier
Yeah.
about something
Hmm.
else, and it really is like that. The only th there are parts of this movie that I've thought about over and over again. The first part, the only part that I feel comfortable mentioning is the opening of the film,
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
he pulls over at a gas station. That gas station cinema is my shit. Shouts to No Country for Old Men.
Texas
Um,
Chainsaw
oh my
Massacre,
God. Uh,
The Vanishing.
oh, it's as good as it gets. Um, but yeah, there's just he
I don't
pulls
think
up
there's
to
any
the
gas
gas
stations
station.
and as good as it gets.
Shut up.
I wouldn't know. Um, yeah, the main character pulls up to a gas station and there's just a corpse out front.
Right.
And
Covered in some cardboard.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's the wild dogs that want to get at it, and the gas station attendant chases him off. And it's just like it's like the ideal tone setter for the
Hmm.
movie because it's like
Yeah.
there's no like action about this. There's nothing to really be done about it, but it's just like it's there and that's how it is. And this is the world that these people are living in right now.
Hmm.
From a thematic point of view, even when the cops show up, there's like a pair of
Yeah.
cops that show up. He's got to bribe them or whatever. We never know who that guy was, ever. Right?
Yep.
We never know
Yeah.
whose leg that was,
Hmm.
ever. There's so many lives, like lives, memories, personalities lost in the shuffle. Right. And they matter and they're beautiful. And that's something that the movie asserts, but also that like reality doesn't care about things that are beautiful. It's just like,
Well, we know the leg was a shark attack victim.
but we don't know. Right. But it's like, who was that? Right. Did it matter? It seems like there was all this controversy. There's all this like, the legend that crops up about it because it's all about misinformation and
Hmm.
not understanding the truth, not being told the truth, particularly by your government, but also just anyone in power.
Yeah.
And that, yeah, really cool. I think Morgan, you probably made this comp, and I didn't think about it when watching it, but it's maybe I have to admit part of the reason why I bumped it. This is majorly Zodiac coded.
Yeah.
Like it's not nearly the same degree of like a crime procedural. It's not that way, but just in the 60s San Francisco, 70s Recife way. Like it's a place, and that opening scene is really quite Finchery. Doesn't look like a Fincher movie, but it also kind of does. I
Yeah.
wouldn't go overboard with the comparison, but I like
Mm.
thinking of it on those terms. I think that if that is an influence in any way, if it's stepping into those shoes in any way, it's about the best damn movie that ever could step into those shoes. The ambiguity, the history, it's just so good.
Yeah, and how it echoes to now. I saw this early with the Q&A with the director and Namora, and they talked about, drawing from that past and tying that to the present, in particular in Brazil, where they had their own, well, Trump and Bolsonaro, and they did
Hmm.
handle that.
Hmm.
But like that stain persists, and of course, here this movie's more relatable than ever.
Hmm. Yeah, it definitely, you know what it did? It made me want to spend more time in 26 watching movies from, we were just talking about, I think on the break part about sub-Saharan Africa from the global south. Because
Hmm.
Brazil and Argentina, as we were kind of riffing about, are movies, are places where you get movies, but, you know, we just don't. treat them the way that we treat movies from Europe or movies from East Asia. Not so much Southeast Asia, Vietnam and Thailand and stuff. Like we have a few guys there, but like more Japan and Hong Kong and China. There are these
Hmm.
countries we decided that we care a lot about, maybe because they were colonized by the Brits or colonized by America or colonized by the French. In the case of like Senegal, for instance, that's I think why Senegal has such a rich history. But anyway, I've really wanted to spend a lot of time both reading and watching things more from that part of the world. Not in like a pat myself on the back self-congratulatory way, but in a boy, I just feel like I don't know a lot about this, and that's kind of sad for somebody that's watched as many movies as I have to just have this enormous global blind spot like that. So I think that's kind of a special thing about the Brazilian nom last year and the Brazilian nom of Secret Agent this year as well.
Yeah,
And it's one
yeah.
of the
This
things where like I will push back forever about the concept of like the Oscars don't matter. They're annoying. You don't have to care about them. We probably all care about them too much, but they matter. And this movie is a great proof of that.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's just great to see like a new movement
Hmm.
happening in global cinema that gets recognized
Yep.
at the highest and biggest stage in the world.
Hmm. For sure. And it helps to have a star like Wagner Moura with his
Oh yeah.
Narcos, Civil War, which is like a decently good hit. Um,
Hmm.
so having his star power here really helps. And he's always good, but man,
He's
he is
incredible here.
next level here. Yeah.
It's insane.
Morgan, did you ever see Bacurau by Phil
Nope.
Ho? I think you'd dig that. It's like a
I've
Western
It's so
horror,
much fun.
really
I
bloody.
I have heard this now in the wake of
Western
this
horror, sci-fi,
particular
it's all
movie.
kinds of crazy shit.
It wasn't really my favorite, personally, but I dug it a bit. And Udo Kier's there. Shouts to Udo
Uh-huh.
Kier, career last performance here
I think he's
as one
got
of the most.
one or
Oh,
two more
okay,
things in the can,
okay, okay,
but this is like one of his last things.
yeah, one of his. Yeah, okay, good point. I thought it was the last one specifically, but
Yeah,
it,
no, and
you know,
he's incredible in this too, in like a one scene wonder kind of
yeah,
situation.
totally taking his little menorah off the thing. Yeah,
Hmm.
just taking his shirt off. Yeah, it's this movie's good, man. It really grew on me. I liked it a lot, and it's only really grown on me since then. So
Hmm.
that's my number three, like not on this list. I'm just saying like my number three overall for the year for Secret Agent. I'll
It
toss it back to
was
Morgan.
my number 7.
Yeah.
It
Great,
was
but not
my
quite.
number six.
Here's a fun sentence. I thought it was great, but not quite as great as James Gunn's Superman. Um,
Total bank. I mean, that's my blockbuster of the year, I think. I
yeah,
don't know. I know, Cold, you're probably rocking with Avatar.
I mean, it's
Sinners,
Sinners. It's Sinners, but
but
I
like
mean,
of
if
the
I
you want to go bigger than that, then yeah, it's Fire and Ash.
Yeah, I think about blockbuster. Yeah, you're right. I'm down with calling Sinners that. It's not a conventional blockbuster, but that doesn't mean that we couldn't include it.
It performed like one.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like blockbuster fighting monsters and stuff, as opposed to, well, he does fight monsters and stuff. All
Yeah,
right, okay, I'll allow it.
there's monsters.
I'll allow it. The
Yeah,
real
but
monster is fucking Jim Crow.
amen to that.
yeah, uh, yeah. So I won't belabor this next one too much, because it's probably the most talked about movie of the year, this and Sinners. But it
Yep,
is Paul
yep.
Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another is my next shout here. We talked for a long time on this show about this movie. And again, I would largely refer you to that. But just like, it feels like an inflection point of sorts for the decade in movies so
Hmm.
far.
Hmm.
Just culturally and how it's resonated with people and the discussions that it's created. And for all of that is also just a rip-roaring, wildly entertaining movie for all of its like 2 hours and 45 minutes or however long it is exactly. Um, uh, Not even close to my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson, but an absolute achievement. And sort of feels like it is, if this is his departed moment, that feels right.
Mm.
Yeah.
I definitely think there's a lot of buzz and excitement. Speaking on Sinners as well, huge success stories, both of those two movies, One Battle and
Hmm.
Sinners for Warner, right before all of hell broke loose with the attempted acquisition and everything that's going on right now. And I think in a way, the industry is going to reward those two movies for the way that they exist within that overall pendulum swing narrative. Not to say that anybody's 100% inflating their opinions of these based on that, but I definitely think that we're seeing, those two movies are going to win some fucking awards come March,
Yeah.
is the thing.
Yeah, the mood in this town surrounding Warner Brothers and particularly these two movies really feels like the final party in Babylon, that last time you see Brad Pitt.
Yeah. A movie that Morgan still hasn't seen, you fucking coward. You're supposed to be the Chazelle guy.
Look, it's nothing to do with my cowardice. It's just it has everything to do with when I want to sit down and watch a 3 hour movie, it's probably going to be like a classic
Yeah,
and
sure.
not 2022's Babylon. And,
There are
look,
some
I would
people
have
who
said
will argue it's a classic.
I wouldn't
we just
go there, but yeah.
100% a movie I would have seen in theaters if we didn't get hit by a blizzard on its on the weekend of its release, and it wasn't
Ooh,
in theaters for
yeah.
more than about 10 days.
Yeah.
Oof.
Mega flop.
That,
Super
Yeah,
flop.
mega flopless.
big bomb.
Uh Yeah, I greatly enjoy One Battle After Another. I actually read Vineland this year. Thomas Pynchon, really not one of my guys. Not then that's not a dig. That's a personal assessment that I just don't always get along with his material. I think that
Hmm.
Paul sharpens it, makes it more of an electrifying blockbuster adjacent experience. Lots of good action set pieces, not conventional action set pieces, but great nonetheless. He makes it a lot more human. I mean, a lot more human, a lot more pathos, a lot more family,
Uh-huh.
even while keeping, the Leonardo DiCaprio character exactly as he is, like real goofy and silly and burnt out kind of thing. Sean Penn, I feel like the buzz around Sean Penn kind of sagged because Benicio del Toro sort of like just chain snatched him a little, which, hey man, cool. They're both great. They really are both great. I imagine they're going to split their votes though, and it'll go to Skarsgård, like I said. But PTA has to win his Oscar this year, right? Even if it's for writing as opposed
Yeah.
to directing, he's got to win one. Like, there's no fucking way they're going to send him home with nothing. I don't think.
He's gonna win director for sure. Now, whether this wins Best Picture, that's a little bit more of an open question.
Yeah,
That's maybe not as locked, but it still feels like probably is going to.
I
Yeah, I
think when
think
we
it's not locked, but it is, I think, by a good margin, the most likely outcome.
Yeah,
I think when
it's
we
not like
talked
an
about
Oppenheimer
this,
level,
Yeah.
steamroll, but
not with Sinners there. I was going to say the last time that I think we really talked about this, I did not realize what a powerhouse awards contender Sinners would be. I knew it was going to get noms, but I thought,
uh-huh.
they're going to do the Black Panther. Here's your production design, here's your costumes, bye. Just something along those lines. And noms, but probably not a lot of wins. Turns out, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we don't know how it's going to do in terms of wins.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you got a lot of noms doesn't mean anything in that
Mm-hmm.
world. But obviously, I mean, the casting thing's in the bag, right? Like the casting award. Fucking Delroy Lindo. Sorry, I'm really talking more about Sinners than One Battle. What I was really going to get at was I thought that One Battle was the juggernaut and Hamnet was the spoiler, like both adapted screenplay. Zhao's already got a director nom and a
Mm-hmm.
director win and a Best Picture win from this decade. And I thought that she was going to swipe in and steal three, four, five, but probably not. It's looking a lot more like Jesse Buckley and nothing for that movie. And then Sinners and One Battle are going to be duking it out for supremacy. While Marty Supreme might get a onesie twosie here, whatever lands an international, great. Whatever hits in, blah blah blah. But the One Battle and Sinners, I think, are like gonna walk away with big hauls.
Yeah, it's the chance to celebrate Warner Brothers one last time.
Yeah, and well deserved. It's sticking on One
Yeah.
Battle specifically more than commentary on Sinners. Uh, well deserved. I mean, huge gamble by them to give him this budget because he is not a hit
Mm-hmm.
maker, Mr. Paul Thomas Anderson. As loved as he is, just his most successful movie prior to this easily was There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, which made like what, 76
70
million?
something. And I'm sure a lot
Ish.
of that had to do with Oscars, like
Yeah.
things that happened after it had been out, like it got re-released or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And that buzz and culture. Thanks, Bill
And
Hader.
the Danny Day is doing some shit, get in here,
Yeah.
vector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this, of course, lost money, but it's worth it, if you can get like some eternal Oscar glory and whatnot. It's the kind
Totally.
of investment that studios should be making.
Agreed. Totally.
There's no
I
way that anybody thought that this wasn't going to lose money.
Yeah, I just thought it
So,
was going to
Yeah.
lose all of its money.
yeah,
Not a little bit, but like
yeah.
most, the majority.
Mhm.
I
If
That's what
this is
Minecraft is for. Minecraft covers the bills.
right. And Batman
one for
and Superman.
them,
I don't know if Batman ever fucking comes out.
I should have said Superman, but yeah.
yeah. Uh, if this is the last copter out of Saigon, then they're playing Flight of the Valkyries on that bitch. We're going
Yeah.
out in style.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that Sensei is on my list of like favorite 2020s characters pretty easily. To
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
point that if I
he's so
really had to
great.
if I had to lay down like a few different things, because this has been such a buzzy, such a universally praised movie, I would say that they are this in this order. Number one, somewhat like Killers of the Flower Moon. It is an unfortunate reality that Leonardo DiCaprio basically has to be the main character of this movie in order for it to get the budget. And that's not an indictment of him. He's great in both of those movies, but he is by far the guy I want to pay the least attention to. Let me do Chase Infinity. Let me do Benicio del Toro. Like
Mhm.
this movie is very much Chase, I wouldn't say is a side character, but it's very much like he's good at getting out of the way, but we still are sort of following him along. It works. And it works incredibly well in Killers, but just, there's something there where you're like, if we
Here
were not
reminds me
so
of
beholden to the studio
Mhm.
system and stars, I think that might have been pitched a little differently.
Here it reminds me a lot of Big Trouble in Little China, where like you're
Yes.
following Kurt Russell,
Yep.
but he's a complete like fucking dipshit and like doesn't accomplish anything on his own.
The
And that's
the
kind of the same thing here.
the natural comparison to like Indiana Jones, like everybody's always talking about, like, oh, he's so
Mhm.
incidental to the plot or whatever. And yeah, I mean, he basically shows up to give his daughter a ride home. But
I
through
mean, if
him, we get to
anything,
take
this
this
is
journey.
yeah. If anything, honestly, this is a little more Star Wars than anything else.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think the other stuff that I obviously we just talked about Secret Agent. I think Secret Agent tends to feel a little bit more fleshed out in terms of that, and that I guess that
Mhm.
kind of connects to the Leo thing. Is like we're not with. I mean, Wagner Moura is a star. Don't get me wrong, but we're with these people in their lives, learning their stories, where that feels a little bit more backgrounded here, while we focus on the action and the
I
chase and everything.
I think part of that is also is that Secret Agent is based on real history.
Doesn't
This
hurt.
this kind of has the argument of, well, is this happening now? I took it as like the opening 40 minutes are happening right now,
In
and that
2025, yeah.
yeah, and that it's like 2040 for the rest of the movie.
That is a reasonable read. I don't think it's
I,
terrifically important.
yeah.
yeah,
Having read the novel, what I would say is this:
I could
we're
just see it
really
eventually be
getting
like the Mo Bamba needle drop.
that happened in like multiple movies this year, actually. Um,
God.
it happened in that recent Sid. No, what was I going to say? Sidney Lumet. What the fuck am I talking? Gus Van Sant. What? Huh? I'm moving on from that comment.
That movie's not set in the 70s?
The Gus Van Sant movie?
Uh-huh.
It's a period movie.
Okay.
Oh,
And
you
the
know what?
Gus,
I think I'm thinking about different. I'm thinking of
The
the
Gus
fucking
Van
Revolution will not be televised. I'm sorry. My brain
Oh,
is
you're
not all the
thinking of
way
a
there.
completely
Yeah,
different
completely different song.
song.
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah. No,
that
the
is
Mo Bamba.
not in
Yeah.
fact Mo
Like
Bamba.
No, I
Gil
got you.
Scott Heron did not make Mo Bamba.
No. My brain just jumped right to that for whatever reason. Sorry. Uh, so as an adaptation of Vineland, the thing is that book is written in the 90s. It is about a guy who was like a hippie revolutionary in the 60s and 70s and is now burnt out in 90s corporate America. That is like a really defined period thing. Hunter S. Thompson, high watermark. Like there's just a ton
Hmm.
of literature that gets into that. And it's like we've kept this as the framework while ditching the era, which I don't mind. I really am pleased by how good of a modern movie this is, like a 21st century cell phones, social media type of movie for Paul, because he
Especially from a
hasn't
guy
made
who
one.
like never, yeah, he barely
Punch Drunk
goes
Love.
beyond the 50s.
Punch Drunk Love was the last one, all the way back in the early 2002, I think that is, or three, or
Long
whatever it
ass
is.
time ago.
Yeah. And I mean, ever since There Will Be Blood, it's been like period movie, period movie, period movie, period movie. Even if the period's like the 70s, still period movies. So it was kind of
Hmm.
nice to see that here. But I admit, like that, it just has the impact of making the revolutionary stuff feel a little too vague for my taste, like a little too silly. Not silly. I don't know that that's what I mean, but like
I
just
mean, the most concrete revolutionary stuff is at the beginning when they're
when
breaking
they're in the
people out of the
cages.
immigration detention camp.
Right. And I would say that the revolutionary tenor of this movie is really kind of down to the fact that Sean Penn is its lead character. I don't know if I would say he's the lead character. Obviously, Leo plays the lead character, but he's the guy. He like Lockjaw is like the thing that this movie's about. And just like the ugliness of that whole world, which is both
Hmm.
funny and shocking and
It's
everything else.
again in the way that all of Star Wars is about Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard that Lockjaw's actually been promoted to a Secretary of Defense,
Ah, I see.
Hmm.
Secretary of War, I
It's
guess is
like
what they're
a
calling it now.
lame duck kind of Weekend at Bernie's situation going on there, or
Well, I mean, the
Yeah, I
other guy's
mean,
a total drunk, so.
they would have had to regenerate his ashes. Uh, at any rate,
Cole,
All right, so my next film,
the feel
again,
bad hit of the year.
my feel bad hit of the year. This is My Little Women. Um, this is Sound of Falling, by
I
Masha
wonder what that title
Sorensen.
could be in reference to.
I actually pointed when we were on Zoom. There's a scene that happened. I was like, I guess that's the sound of falling. And Cole's like, yeah, I guess it is.
This is a film about multiple generations of girls growing up on a farmstead in central northern Germany.
Yeah.
I think it's the Altmark actually, which is
Hmm.
where the farm's set. But this movie takes place in the 1910s, the 1940s, the 1980s, and the 2020s, and it does not delineate at any
Right.
point which era
Nope.
is happening. You kind of have to put the pieces together yourself.
Like using that Little
Uh,
Women comparison where she
mhm,
uses a certain warmer color grading for the past and a certain
mhm.
color grading for the future. None of that. There
Yeah.
are
The all
details that you can use, but none of
Yeah,
that type of trickery.
like stuff in the house and costume design, you can, obviously tell the
When they got the
difference.
Air Bud in listening to Anna von Hauswolf, that's pretty clearly the 2020s. There's no
Yeah, that's
mistaking
not
that one,
1910.
right?
That's not
I did
1910.
I didn't literally sit forward in my chair just now, but I did in an emotional sense.
Um,
It had a similar impact to when you see the laptop or flash drive for the first time in The Secret Agent, where you're like,
uh-huh. You're
what
like,
the
wait, what the
fuck?
fuck? Yeah, no, so there's each decade has a different child that it focuses on basically in these families and dealing with all these family dynamics. A lot of it is also just about dealing with family secrets,
Mhm.
dealing with your own emotions.
How
One of
adults
the
keep things pinned in, because there is so much
mm-hmm,
from the perspective of children in this movie.
mm-hmm, how the German state of mind is to repress, 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 repress until
Right.
it kills you.
That
Um,
setup couldn't help but make me think of The White Ribbon. It is ultimately an extremely different movie in almost every way, but it's
mhm.
also set in the 1910s in Germany. Actually, it might be 20s, but I think it's 10s, like late 10s or early 20s, whatever it is. But just
It's tens.
those German villages where that next generation grows up and
Yeah.
they're doing some bad stuff now. This
Hmm.
is not really about that because I think it's so much more focused on women, partially. We get
Hmm.
into the war, like the First World War, a little bit is a topic that comes up in a very dramatic way, I would say. But we're so
Yeah.
much more focused on the women that we're not necessarily getting into the geopolitics so much as like the compressed social dynamics within this family home over
Hmm.
time.
Yeah. And just how that plays into each other. And this movie is not a light watch.
Nope.
No, you made that Lieutenant Dan joke at the beginning, and I was like, get in your jokes while you can. We're running out of time really fast.
Yeah.
Uh
Might as well jump.
yeah, the thing that honestly really ties all these girls together is that they all have suicidal ideation.
Hmm.
Just go ahead and jump.
Is
Yeah, I
that the joke
this
that I'm going to?
This only played in theaters for a very limited window of time, and at times, like, so I saw Magellan on one of the nights it was playing, so wasn't going then.
Hmm.
I saw Nirvana the band and Climax. I didn't talk about Five Stars, but I did go see Climax again. That was awesome.
Ew.
And so I didn't have a chance to see this, so we watched it together on a back of the truck copy of it that actually looked quite great. I'm sure it was a web rip of like high quality
German Blu-ray.
German Blu-ray rip. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But this is a movie that, and we'll talk about this again for Cole's next movie, incredible soundscape. Like just
Yeah.
the whooshing, atmospheric, I'm sure that this plays like gangbusters in a theater with that sound.
Oh God, it did. I saw this at AFI back in October. And yeah, just like the sounds of the farm and nature and
Mhm. The rushing
just
water and
mhm, the wheat blowing in the wind, all that
mhm.
stuff. Even just the creakiness of the house.
And it's very novelistic. I mean, that premise of being set in four different eras with these different family characters, it feels
Hmm.
like a really bold adaptation of like a 600-page novel that is like really expansive and gets into all this history. And so you're almost like, it's an original story, but it feels like that. It feels like somebody like deftly navigating all these different annals of family history in a really elegant way.
Yeah. It a lot of people have described this as like a haunted house movie from the perspective of the house.
Sure.
Shout out to Presence, another 25 banger.
Yeah, I would also say sentimental value has some of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Intergenerational conflict and past history. The memory stuff in this movie, how
Hmm.
much is like images, and there's a kind of like vague, I don't want to use the word vague because I usually don't mean positive things when I say vague about movies, but just indeterminate ideas, what's real,
Hmm.
what's not real, XYZ.
Yeah, 10-year-old kid trying to understand what death portraits are.
Right, right. Yeah, there's definitely like a morbidity to this movie that I completely like. I like, yeah, that's very like cold morbidity. Like just like the
Yeah.
things that it chooses to focus on, the way that it chooses to focus on them. It's never melodramatic. There's basically like one or two scenes
Hmm.
involving that missing leg that are like kind of but
Hmm.
everything else is very hushed, very quiet, very
Hmm.
in a way.
Yeah, even in the moments where these girls are like really going through it, because of whatever circumstances are happening in their lives, some of which are really, really nasty to
Hmm.
things that the movie doesn't really pry into too much, but that they're happening in the
Hmm.
background. Even the moments where these girls are thinking about, how would I kill myself?
Right.
It never really gets into like the grossness of that.
If your method for killing yourself, by the by, is laying in front of an active harvester combine, come up with a second plan, please. Any second plan would be good, other than that one. That
Mine
sounds
was
That's
horrible.
what
drowning, so I mine was drowning, so I found this very relatable.
that's what the combat thing is what you do when you like hate the people you live with.
Yeah, yeah. I want to
Yeah.
make a big scene and a big mess.
And
This
you know
is
what?
uh,
That one girl honestly had a reason to hate them. So
Yeah.
this is a total aside, but I cannot believe that Davy has not seen and subsequently hates Climax.
Yeah, I can
It
believe it. I,
just
I
it just seems like a movie he would have seen and like one starred.
fuck ass opinion. I'm sorry. It's so based. Anyway, we don't have to go to no way territory. I hope he makes another movie this decade, though.
Fun
I'm sure
picture.
he will. I know he was taking a little bit of time off after what was it, a hemorrhage or
Aneurysm, I
stroke
think.
or
I think it was
oh
a brain
God.
aneurysm.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, it's the type of shit that happens to you when you make Vortex.
Yeah. And then you go hand a copy of Vortex to the Pope.
That's awesome. That's hilarious.
The Pope should have a letterbox. I want to know his
He
opinions.
used to, and then I think they shut it down.
Well, he should go back.
Yeah.
I'd follow. I'm not Catholic and I'd still follow.
Do you think Gaspar handing a copy of Vortex to the Pope was the genesis of the sentimental value bit?
I do think Vortex is a little bit more Gustav Borg coded than Irreversible, personally. He's a big
Yeah, for
softy.
sure.
Irreversible could only have come from one person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All
Evil
right.
little gremlin.
But yeah, the Sound of Falling movie is starting to roll this out bit by bit. So
Mhm.
catch it in a theater if you can. If not, I'm sure it'll be streaming on their service eventually.
I
Cannot
believe it
recommend it
drops by
enough.
the end of the month.
Oh,
Pretty sure.
fabulous.
Pretty sure. Well, the main event, the big show. For me, This immediately went to the top of my list, and it's only been ousted by one movie that will come up after I do this. So this is my number two for the year, but the top movie on the list that I'm introducing, which is the latest and greatest from Jafar Panahi, his follow-up to No Bears, which is It Was Just an Accident, or in French, Un Simple Accident. This is
You
an
would have thought his follow-up to No Bears would be Some Bears.
yeah, a few bears,
Yeah.
a few small
Or
bears.
or a prison sentence.
Yeah, that too. I do believe his co-writer, after releasing this movie, has been arrested by the Iranian government. And the two of them, Panahi and the co-writer, actually met in prison, and that's where they
Yeah.
developed the idea for this movie, which is basically we open with a family, mom, dad, daughter, and they're coming home from a dinner or an event, driving through the neighborhood, and all of a sudden, thunk, 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 and the car breaks down. They get themselves to a garage where two men are working and they are helping them with the car. And one of the men hears something familiar from his place upstairs. And that familiarity is a thud, scrape, thud, scrape, thud, scrape of a peg leg, which he recognizes like that. Because when he, the main character, was in prison being tortured, one of his torturers holding him captive had a peg leg, was referred to as peg leg. And so immediately, this guy goes on a hunt to try to figure out, is this the real guy? And maybe more than figure out if it's the real guy, his real motivation is, I'm going to kill this motherfucker. Ultimately, he takes him out into the desert, digs a hole, throws him in it, and the guy regains consciousness and says just enough that the main character starts to doubt whether this sound is enough of an indication to tell him it is that person who he's never seen. Because when he was in prison, he was blindfolded, so he's never seen this guy's face. He only knows him by his sound. And so we go on this little adventure of picking up different people, all of whom have been in prison, all of whom have been tortured, all of whom want some sort of vendetta or justice against this man and against the system. And what unfolds is this really rich moral debate of a movie. It's one of my favorite setups in a movie if you can nail it. Um, we've brought up Sinners, and I'll bring it up again here because to me the back half of Sinners goes to a very Night of the Living Dead sort of place. And in my opinion, it's not as engaging as the first half of the movie is. And one of the reasons for that is like the gap between Sinners and Night of the Living Dead is in Night of the Living Dead, everybody in the room has their own perspective on things. Like Barbara's going fucking crazy. Old guy wants to be down in the basement. We want to barricade the doors. We want to do the plan. And no one can really get together. And ultimately you realize like that's what's going to tear them apart. Not the monsters, but their inability to make their perspectives cohere together and collaborate on a good plan. This is that times 100 in terms of its real deep-seated, emotionally scarring experiences that these people have had. And it puts you as the audience through the same moral ringer. I guess we talked about high and low last year because Spike Lee had two
Mm,
highest, two low, highest, two lowest, and two
yeah.
highest, two lowest, fucking high to low, Tokyo Drift and all that. Uh,
Fast and Furious 11 on the way.
High and low, such a rich part of that movie is the dilemma and making your brain go, well, we can't let him die, and arguing with yourself, what does justice look like in this world? It's also an immaculate thriller. It has my favorite climax of the entire year. Phenomenal. I
Mm,
mean, phenomenal. This has not, other than one movie, it has not budged at all from the very, very top of my list. So just a thrill to see him back. We're blessed. Every Panahi movie that gets made is a blessing.
yeah, literally.
The, I am sorry to the Secret Agent, and I am sorry to Sinners. This is the best ensemble of the year
Yeah.
by an insane margin.
Supporting actress would be like a complete walk if I were
Yeah.
in charge of the voting.
Yeah, Mariam Ashfari is so
Whew,
good.
whew. It's coming after my heart carrying around these big fucking camera lenses the entire movie. Them big telephoto zoom johns.
I Good Lord, dude.
the the
Yeah.
tension this movie gets out of itself is
Yeah.
insane.
I
While
one of my
also being like a stage play. Like
Yeah,
this is mostly people having conversations.
right. This could be
Yeah.
waiting for Godot,
Yeah.
it's just that kind of thing. Everybody's got their perspectives, and you're sort of like on everyone's side. There's no one who you're really looking at. Like there's like a wild man character in this who's just ready to like sink his teeth into the guy and rip his face off.
Mm-hmm.
And you agree with him, but you also understand like why we can't do this. You know what I mean? Like there's
Mm-hmm.
nobody in the movie, and I think that's such a beautiful writing flourish. I don't think there's any doubt that this is my favorite screenplay of 2025. Direction's
Yeah, this
obviously great, the performances are great, but
mm,
this screenplay is fucking bulletproof.
it if PTA did not have to win Best Director, this would be winning Best Original Screenplay with a bullet.
Yeah, yeah. Who I'm trying to think who else is in that slot. Sentimental Value's also there, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So
that's kind of cool to have two foreign
Sinners.
language ones. I mean, Sentimental Value has plenty of English in it.
What is Best Original Screenplay? Everyone, give me 5 seconds while I
Yeah,
calibrate.
Sinners. Is Marty Supreme there?
Yes.
I believe so.
I almost thought Weapons could get in here.
Oh yeah, Blue Moon is also
Blue,
in
yeah, there.
original screenplay.
I couldn't remember the actor. I couldn't remember the screenplay. Sorry, Richard Linklater. I still love you. I
Sony
wouldn't have
Pictures
nominated any of
Classics
this
is
shit for
very
Oscars, but
disappointed.
what are you gonna do? But yeah,
Autumn.
to your point, Cole, just super tense. You know, the scene where they call the phone or pick up the phone and it's the
Uh-huh.
daughter talking about mommy's fallen down, and all of a sudden, just things take a turn on top of a turn on top of a turn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other big Iranian filmmaker who I think he's mostly had his name cleared of doing bad plagiarism things, but that's Asghar Farhadi. This is kind of Panahi at his most Farhadi, where
Yeah,
it's
for
like the
sure.
the
The
severe ethical
dilemma.
dilemma. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was cleared,
Yeah.
if I remember right.
I'm sure that there was still some dirty work being done, but
Oh,
I
I mean,
I
for sure, just because of
if
the
you
dynamic alone in that situation, I'm
yeah.
just like,
But
ugh.
if you get me one drink in me, I will talk to you for 2 hours about how we overreacted to that situation, and A Hero is still very much one of the best movies of this decade. I've also seen the documentary that it allegedly rips off, and it's like, yeah, I mean, in the sense that all movies rip something off. I mean, Sentimental Value is ripping off Clouds of Silmaria. Does anyone care? No. It's awesome. It's a great movie. Who cares?
You can't rip off reality. You
Right.
can't rip off things that happened.
Right.
Everything's a remake.
Yeah. But yeah, these last two by Panahi, like I pointed to No Bears, which I have up here.
Hmm.
I don't know. I have no fucking idea when the next time I'll ever watch this movie again is, because it makes me feel like uniquely makes me feel very, very bad. Um, it was just an accident. It's a movie that I could see watching over and over and over, and just at some
Yeah.
point just labeling it like it's a classic to me. Like
Hmm.
this is going to be one of those decade-defining movies for anybody that's seen it.
Absolutely. Also, a very funny movie.
Extremely deserving Palme d'Or winner.
Hmm.
Yeah. Uh,
They've been on
the
fire with
running
that the last 2 years.
The only real
yeah,
bad one from this decade is
Triangle of
Triangle.
Sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
Yeah,
only
that was
major miss.
that was a
mhm.
skip.
It was fine. Ruben
Send help
Östlund.
better.
Yes. Send help. Send help so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I love the running gag in this movie about tipping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tipping and bribing. Bribing the
Tipping and,
police
bringing fucking pastries to the nurses at the hospital
for
because
like
apparently
the
that's a
family of
thing.
the guy who you were going to bury alive 10 hours ago. Ending the climax where it's the two of them, well, three,
Hmm.
the guy and then the man and the woman, and he's tied up to
Yeah.
the tree at night and the headlights going past, and then just the resolution.
Hmm.
Woo! I was vibrating in the theater. It
The
was
final
amazing.
the final 30 seconds of this movie, and all you hear is just thud, scrape, thud, scrape, thud.
Super Sopranos coded, if I'm honest.
I gotta go home. I gotta leave. I just remembered I have a date with my bed.
Well,
I love the movie.
Morgan, you want to rip this Band-Aid off? This is both Morgan's favorite movie of the year and my favorite movie of the year.
Not only is it my favorite of the year, and this opinion was solidified firmly on round two, this is my favorite film of the decade. It is none other than Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice.
Woo! Woo! Movies with no other in the title this decade
Yeah,
going
just
ballistic.
just clearing.
Great record
Uh,
so far.
uh just like the thing that really gets this so over the top for me is that it is the most wildly entertaining film of the
No doubt.
decade.
Easily. Ma-
Um,
It just fucking complete madness how entertaining this movie is.
Hmm.
it's one of the funniest. It's probably the best performed. Uh, if I liked this aesthetic a little more, like the color of it and all, it would be the
Yeah.
best looking. This is
Yeah.
like easily the most cinematography go the movie
Yeah. The
of the
the
decade so far
technique,
to me.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm with you. The color and it's very digital also, but just the technique, the movement, the editing is like holy shit.
Yeah. But also
Holy
I
shit.
just love the digital because it's like
Oh yeah.
the scenes with, looking at the gun on the iPad. It's like, how do you pull that off?
Right. Right.
Genuinely, how did you do it?
This is a mind bender in those types of ways. Totally.
The transitions are like, uh, how do you
They're
have the
like,
brain for this?
yeah, they're like Donna Summer's greatest hits level flawless.
Just Lee Hyun Byung should
Byung Hun.
100 Byung Hun, thank you, sorry.
Mm,
I've probably typed I can type it better than I can say it.
yeah,
Um, not only deserves a nomination, but is so far out in front as my favorite male lead performance of the year. It's him and Wagner Moura easily.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I would say he's easily over Wagner, which I don't say lightly. It just totally everything that this movie needs. He's forceful and violent, but it's Walter White is kind of the vibe of this performance. I mean, or a Better Call Saul, like in those redefining this actor's career level
Hmm.
performances. Not to say that it's redefining Lee's career. I haven't seen him in much because I've never watched Squid Games. And I know he's been in other things, but and I've seen him in other things, but I this is like the first big movie I've seen him in. Amazing.
the
In terms
first
of the
time
entertainment,
I ever
sorry.
saw him was G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra.
That's right. He is
And
in that.
you've seen I Saw the Devil.
He's the main guy in that?
Yeah,
The Vengeance guy?
yeah.
He seems so much younger there in a way. I mean, I know that movie's from like what,
It's just
2018 or something?
No,
no, I
isn't
Saw
that
the
like
Devil's like
2010?
Oh, is it
yeah,
that old? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's an old one. Well,
Boy, yeah, that's over 15 years old at this point. That's
yeah,
crazy to
I
think
just
about.
call 2010 old. Shoot me.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean,
yeah.
it that was a long time ago, man. They were still giving Martin Scorsese Oscars back then.
I did not like how old 2008 looks in Nirvana. This
In the
is
Nirvana movie. Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm just so No Other Choice is an adaptation of a novel that I think Morgan's the only one that's read any of it here, and I don't think you finished
Yeah.
it because
No, I
it's
didn't.
mid. And
Yeah.
it's like just one of those cases of like a really good adaptation. My favorite Park
Mhm.
Chan-wook movie for a long time, and this is not like a solid take that anybody ever agrees with, was Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. And this brought me to that place and is a much better movie. There's a lot of Eddington, One Battle, like these movies that are dealing with the current era, COVID, AI, data centers, whatever the fuck, right?
See Routed Jude's Dracula for more information.
Great example. All of his recent 2020s movies, with the exception of the ones that are about the Holocaust, those are obviously in the past, but all like Do Not Expect Too Much of the End of the World and Bad Luck Banging,
Hmm.
same kind of thing. Um,
Continental 25.
there are smart movies about the present day, but there are very few that simultaneously make it look this sexy. Think about Decision to Leave too, those phone screens and making them look so good,
Hmm.
and spoke so close to my heart, so close to things I have experienced. I've never been laid off of a job, well, I have actually been furloughed by the US government before, so I have lost a job in that situation, but it's a little different. Last year, I'm not really shy about sharing this. I had a total fucking emotional breakdown that went on for like a month and a half. It was awful. It's like the worst period of my life since I was a teenager in terms of my emotional well-being. And it all started, not to say that this was the reason, but it all started with instability at work. Because I've worked at the
Yeah.
same company. I'll hit 12 years there this year. 12 fucking years. And you think that means you're solid, but you are never solid. They expect you to work. They expect you to be loyal, but you, motherfucker, can get the axe any fucking time. And it makes you a crazy person. It takes all the things that you think are your virtues. Because think about this lead character at the beginning. He's going up to these American executives. He's rehearsing. He's writing it on his hand. That's his thing about, hey, you can't just be cutting people from my company. And then all of a sudden, he's the one that gets cut, and it just suddenly flips. You stop thinking about anybody else. You're only thinking about yourself. You're thinking about your lifestyle. You're thinking about the stubborn. I think a lot of people don't relate to this character, like people that have maybe like four-starred this movie, but I relate to him so deeply. I complete like not. I've obviously never murdered anybody, but
That we know
I
of.
get it, dude. I get it, and especially the ending. And I know it's probably not couth to jump right to the ending, but similar to Magellan, it's like you've sacrificed everything for what? Eartha Kitt. For what?
To what end?
To work in an empty warehouse full of fucking robots and fucking AI and fucking corporate shithead executives that do not care if you have food to eat that night. Like, and I just there's no movie that I have seen any time this decade that just pierced right into it. Drive My Car maybe would be another one that's very modern that I loved a whole lot that really got into some deep and rich things. But you could set that movie in the 1960s and you wouldn't really be missing all that much. You could pretty much make it the same way. This is definitively almost like the 2020s movie to me at this stage. Like the 2020s movie about the 2020s is what I'm saying. About
Yeah,
the
It's
era.
it's just so much more deft and funny and light on its feet while also being super like contemplative about these things without ever becoming didactic at all, uh, than like anything in the competition. Like
yeah.
I I I'm going to harp on Sean Fennessy again, as we've been doing in the chat a little, but I th he put Eddington over this movie in his top five, and it makes me want to beat the brakes off of him. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I don't see anything that that movie speaks to that's more authentic, real, urgent, or present in our lives than this movie. There's a data center, right? It's going to suck up the water. That's real, but it's also like some offhanded visual thing that happens. And that's not wrong. I'm not saying that that's wrong, but when that's probably like the best cultural criticism I can pull out of your movie is I saw one background shot of a data center. All right, cool, dude.
It's just so much funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And more
think the
thrilling.
people I think the people who liked Eddington are like, this is funny to me. I think that's mainly
There,
what that is. That's
there
the
were
only explanation I
moments
could come up with anyway.
there were moments in Eddington that made me laugh, you know. I do think something that movie does well. It's small, but it does sort of specify like the nature of the political grift. You know,
Hmm.
there's like that teenage boy who's like all a leftist just because he's trying to get pussy. And then,
Hmm.
you know, at the end of the movie, he's flipped and he's taking photos with Marjorie Taylor Greene,
Right. At
who
that
is
point,
also
though,
now apparently jump ship.
that was one of our, I think that was our first episode with the new
Hmm.
roster and
That
releasing them
was
on
the
YouTube.
revival.
I think that Eddington, while not wrong, largely sharpens its talons and attacks that sort of liberalism, weak, feckless bullshit, which deserves your talons to be sharp and deserves to get attacked. But then I think it
Mhm.
fails to go anywhere else besides that. To me, this conflict and everything that drives it, you see where the source is. You see how we react badly to it. You see how, you know, everybody's trying to manipulate. And then I also think we haven't mentioned this movie yet. This movie is as entertaining as Parasite to me, while having a far meaner streak, while having a far more pointed idea about why our lives are the way that they are than Parasite does to me. And I'm not trying to dog that movie or anything. It just surprises me. Well, no, it actually doesn't surprise me at all because Parasite, I think, is way more of a crowd pleaser. Entertaining as
Yeah.
this feels like shit. This is a mean movie, and if you are you know how everybody, all the celebrities were like, "We love Parasite," and it's like it's about you, you fucking pricks, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
no, yeah, no.
This
Parasite
one,
is like the best popcorn movie of the last 20 years. This is
this one's
something
like
very
shouting
different.
that at me. Like I'm the one. I love no other choice, and it's like this movie's about you, you piece of shit. Like it, and ah, it 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 blew me away. I mean, it blew me away. How good this is. Decision to Leave, great movie. Watched it
Hmm.
again this year. Love it. Super sultry, super romantic, brutal fucking ending. This this is this is so much more in my wheelhouse of stuff that I enjoy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
well,
my.
Park has never. I haven't seen the Cyborg movie,
You'd like it.
Mostly because Davey loves it. That's why I haven't seen it. Um, 'Cause he's the kind of person that would say to my face, like, I'm a cyborg and that's okay more than old boy. And I'm like, you
You
should
know,
kill
he was
yourself.
right. He really does linger over this podcast.
He
Like they
does.
honestly
Yeah.
do. There's a
He's
little more
our
battle
friend of the
after
pod.
another.
He's our friend of the pod. Davy Peppers. He'll be back someday. He'll get a
Friend.
chance to defend himself.
Uh,
Probably shoot both of you.
That's fine.
he'd be a terrible shot.
Yeah.
Um,
Get that
It would
double
uh,
just be
barrel.
like no other choice.
Get
It
that
would be
double
just
barrel
like
John
no other
from
choice with
Lady
the
Vengeance.
unmatched.
yeah. Yeah. Park has never made a movie that's not in my wheelhouse. I think I may have lowered Stoker to a 4, but that's my least favorite of his.
That's my
And
least
It's
favorite as
that's,
his
well.
it's his
that's,
American picture. It's a little bit of an aberration.
Yeah.
I think it's
Actually, I like that a
great.
little more than Cyborg, but
Yeah.
those would be the two.
I think Stoker is great, and it's my least favorite of his. There's nothing that this man has made that isn't in my wheelhouse. And
Hmm.
I think I've
Yeah.
settled on this being my number 2 for him.
Handmaiden?
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have the
Um,
exact same top two.
Yeah.
just one of the clear best guys. Maybe the best director of the 21st century, I would say, in my opinion.
At a minimum, even if we didn't want to commit all the way to best director of that time, like best formalist for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just what
Um,
he can do with a camera is completely mind fucking. Like just
Mhm.
what? Why did you think of this? How did you think of this? How did you execute this? What are you talking about?
Brian of Palma crying in the corner.
I have to assume that he would love this if he's seen it. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah.
just like, oh my
Oh
God, this I'm
God, for
so proud of you.
sure.
This is so good.
Yeah. I do want to see the original adaptation of this novel
Yeah.
by Costa Gavras, which is
Oh yeah.
apparently
Yeah.
impossible to find.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Um,
I think Romain Gavras is a producer on this.
this is
Oh, that's
also
funny.
and I don't know what I don't have like a concrete list in my head, but I'll rattle off a few such as Zone of Interest, Furiosa. What else, Cole? All We Imagine Is Light.
This is like
That might be it so
I
far.
think that's it. I
Where
think that's it.
the two of us, and now obviously Morgan as well, we all rated this one 5 stars. That is exceptionally rare. That does not happen very often at all. Drive My
Mm-mm.
Car, but I had to bump it to get there.
Yeah.
We weren't on the. I gave it a 9 because I was a fucking coward. That was a stupid decision, but it's fine. I've seen that movie like 4 times now. It's pretty good.
It's real fucking good.
Yeah, great use of pop music as well. In this, that needle drop is
Oh
such a
yeah.
banger. Feels like a Yakuza song, like that you'd be doing
Yeah.
karaoke to.
Yeah, honestly.
Dame, dame,
Man,
dame yo,
Leo,
dame na yo.
Baka mitai.
This also might be the best movie about how Instagram is full of bullshit.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Particularly
yeah.
the one candidate for the job who's an influencer.
Hmm. Right, and like that's like that character, man, just really made this movie for me in so many ways because you realize you're envying him, and what he is a divorced middle manager who has no life. Everything is phony, living entirely through social media. And it's like, Christ, that is literally shit that I have lived through, man. Not with somebody trying to kill me, of course, but you're gonna be envious of me because I've got the shittiest job. That sucks. That's a fucking shitty setup.
uh,
And that
we live
desperation. I've seen. Can I want to address something about this movie, and I don't think that it's being leveled as like a critique so much as like an offhanded, jokey letterbox where it's like he had a lot of other choices. One, no shit. That's the idea, dumbass. And I
Humor
know that's
is
not.
dead.
I'm not saying that everybody saying that is meant to be like criticizing. But at the same time, the first person that we hear say the title, the person that gets it stuck in the main character's head, is the American executive who's laying people off. I'm sorry, I don't
Yeah.
have it, no other choice. Sorry, no. Like it's the corporation. It's how their concepts bleed into our lives and govern the way that we live. And how inevitable that is. How much we are beholden to corporate culture in every walk of life. And it's fucking evil. This movie makes you want to like Luigi Mangione people. You're like, dude, stop killing the coworkers. Start killing the bosses.
I have to go a
Solidarity is dead.
little bit higher. Yeah.
And that's what this movie is really about.
Solidarity.
This
Where's
movie is
Jimmy
just
Hoffa?
entirely about the death of solidarity.
If
And
Jimmy Hoffa was there, it would have gone down differently.
Yeah.
yeah, that's why they had to kill him.
It's what it is. It's what it is.
That's what it is. Pain. Ow. Park Chan-wook, director of one movie with a happy ending.
Yeah.
One. Just one.
On
And this is no exception. This is, so I was just saying, Accident has my favorite climax, but this does have my favorite ending of the year. Just those final two
mm,
scenes in the empty warehouse of robots, and then seeing the trees get
yeah.
taken out by the other robots. That I'm not. I I could say this in a really slandery way. That one shot does everything that Avatar, in theory, should be doing for me in 1 second. Because it is, it's just that Fern Gully thing. It's just like, we're ripping this up and we're not even like we don't even have people with consciences cutting down the trees anymore. It's just a fucking machine leveling
Uh,
what's left of the earth. It's horrifying. I mean, it's something that I have thought about endlessly since seeing this movie. That ending is haunting.
yeah. It's a real knockout.
Incredible movie. I think technically this would basically be the first watch podcast movie of the year. I think Cole, you've got it third, and then Morgan and I both have it first.
No, it's second.
Oh, you've got it above Panahi. I couldn't
Yeah.
quite remember if Panahi was two or three. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think this is like officially.
Panahi is our collective runner-up.
Yep, yep. But there's one more movie that we need to talk about that is quite special. That was one of the last ones that Morgan and I got to catch up with. So Cole, if you
Hmm.
want to lead off,
Yeah,
do so.
so you guys know me. I'm not the hyperbolic type. I pretty much measure praise and dole it out in little doses here and there. Even on movies I really love, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, I
Um,
like to get into that. Like, Killers of the Flower Moon was a strong favorite. Like that
yeah.
was like all the way to the top. Drive My Car was a strong favorite. Vortex and Tar, strong favorites. But
Hmm.
you get into more like even All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. All the Beauty and the
Yeah.
Bloodshed, strong Zach favorite. Cole, more like that was an amazing movie. That was really good, really great.
Hmm.
I'm not belittling. I'm just saying, like, I think between the two of us, I'm a little bit more of a hype merchant for that movie than you are. For
Yeah.
example, just
Yeah. And
laying some
uh,
groundwork there.
yeah, and I'm not much of a hype merchant in general. But then I saw this movie and I walked out and I was like, it's the best movie of the decade, and like nothing's gonna beat it. This is Resurrection, the latest film by Be Gone. This movie is about a world where dreaming has
Be
been made
gone,
illegal.
thought.
Oh God.
Sorry. It couldn't. I
Every
was like,
time,
don't. I was like, don't say it.
every time I see the name, I think about first you were a vegan, now you
Now you
will
will
be
be
gone.
gone.
I'm gonna jump off my balcony. Um,
That's the sound of
but
falling, baby.
oh, you know, well, you know. I mean, you could know because I sent you the file link. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no. So this is set in a world where humanity has discovered the secret to long life. Unfortunately, that involves giving up the ability to dream. But a group of people have refused to give up the ability to dream, and in doing so, they have become monsters. The little Quasimodo action, take it even
kind
further
of
than that.
Max Shrek,
Yeah.
Nosferatu type.
very much looking nasty as hell. But this movie follows a woman who's played by Shu Kui, who tracks
Yeah.
down one of these dreamers
Millennium
and
Mambo movie of the life.
peels back layer by layer, trying to figure out why this person refuses to give up the ability to dream. So this movie is divided into segments. Each segment is inspired by one of the Buddhist senses. There's six senses worth of Shyamalan on that. Uh, touch, taste, sight, hearing, smell, and then sense of self.
Yeah, it's like memory and perception.
And each segment in this movie is basically a compendium of the last 130 years of movie making,
Yeah.
all in one.
Hmm.
But this is a film history course
Right.
presented with as much dynamism and excitement as you could possibly get out of that.
It
I mean, it,
very deftly hits the notes of look how much we've done and consider what a baby art form this is. Think about
yeah.
music has been like the concept of music has been around since humanity, thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
Literature, even if you just wanted to say the novel, right? Maybe goes back to like Izumi Shikibu, no, Murasaki Shikibu and The Tale of Genji or like Cervantes' Don Quixote. Cinema, infant art form. And I think this movie sort of, hey, look at all this crazy history, but also we are literally at the precipice of what we can do in movies.
Mm-hmm. It is a movie so excited about not just the history of cinema, but all the potential that can come out of it still. Yeah, this is a baby art form. There's still so much growing and developing to do. So, you start with that first segment, which is like such a 20s Murnau
Mhm.
homage,
The
and
flickering frame rate and everything, it's
mhm,
like,
it looks insane.
yeah, maybe we just do a quick summary. So just
Yeah,
quickly. Obviously,
yeah,
we have the start off, we got the framing, we have this guy, I think they call him a deliriant is the word.
Yeah.
And then we
yeah,
go into Sight, which is this silent movie, Opium Den, dream imagery, and that's kind of how we access the rest of the stories is like through memory that's starting here. The second takes us a little further into the future, is very clearly based on noirs, and the sense there is hearing. We've got a lot of instruments, music, ear canal, eardrum puncturing damage. The third segment, which I would love to talk a lot about, it's the taste segment, which takes place entirely in a temple that's basically being decommissioned. You've got a company full of guys who are coming in, removing statues, and they leave one of them there overnight in the temple during winter, and it's just like his one night staying there. The fourth one is Smell, and it's like a con man, sort of Paper Moon, like a hustler picks up a little kid to help him with his grifts, and they're trying to scheme their way into money, I guess. I don't really remember what all they're supposed to be getting, but it's like money, really. And
yeah,
then the fifth one, Showstopper, another long take by our guy B Gun. If you've seen Long Day's Journey into Night, you already know this whole fifth segment is shot in one shot, one continuous shot. Takes place on New Year's Eve, I believe, of 1999, and follows around this pair of lovers in
yes,
a very Leos Caraxy kind of way. Um, Vampires, Pepsi Cola, karaoke, lots of shit going on there. And then
yeah.
you guys threw me with this, but I mean, I concede that yes, there is a sixth sense, so it makes sense. But I don't really, the sixth segment is not a segment in the way that the other five are. It doesn't really have a concrete beginning, middle, and end, I wouldn't say, unless we're talking
No.
about all of the beginning and all of the end. So to me, that's more of like a coda than its own. But it's really, there's not like much narrative. It's more like all the people come together in this theater made of wax and some of the best, most magical visuals you've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
So just to give it that quick structural breakdown for everybody.
Yeah, and in exploring each different sense, you're basically exploring a different asset of cinema, like a different genre, a different storytelling style. For example, the noir segments very inspired by Lady from Shanghai,
Hmm.
um, I- Deeper Moon for the con man story,
Yep.
other slow cinema, for example, for the temple,
I would say
and you
Wong
just
Kar-wai, kind
for
of Leo's
sure,
Carax for the final one. The Temple
hmm
very, the Temple is
absolutely,
actually the example I think of for the Temple's more contemporary than Paper Moon, but it makes me
hmm
think of Kim Ki-duk and spring,
oh
summer,
yeah,
fall, winter, and spring.
hmm
Like it's very, I put them both in my favorites list because I just kept thinking about how similar they are and how much I
hmm
like them both for the same. reasons, basically.
Yeah, so this movie basically takes you through the ringer about every single different aspect of cinema and just why it's so important, why it's so important to dream and let cinema be a representation of your dreams and put your dreams into it and turn your dreams into a reality that you can see, you can feel, you can hear. You got to feel everything. Somehow heartbreak really does feel good in a place
Hmm.
like this.
Connections that you make that don't last, remembering people
Mm-hmm.
who are no longer in your life, really breaking free of certain relationships. I mean, it just tremendous. This one's really good. Morgan, I think you, I mean, I don't think, I know you're the most recent one to see this, so
Yeah. Uh yeah, as the lone member of this podcast who hasn't spoken on this film at all, uh I really struggled with parts of it and other parts of it, namely the opening segment and the fifth segment with the
Mm-hmm.
vampires and such. Just blew my fucking hair back. So it's sort of it's a I mean it's an anthology movie, which was not
right.
sold to me at all because I mean, of my own admission, I wanted to know nothing about this movie, or at
Uh-huh.
least as little about it as possible. Um, Typical anthology problem of some you're just going to prefer much more than others.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, and I would very much like to see it again. Uh, I guess I'll have to wait until April. Um, but
Everyone else should also see April. That's a great movie from
Yeah,
2025.
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Georgia, Georgia. Anyway, sorry, different Georgia.
Not the state.
Not that Georgia.
I watched Long Day's Journey into Night to prepare for this and
Banger.
had a similar emotional response in places where I was like, I do not care about what is happening in this movie at all, but let's just ride. And then the ride is good, you know.
Hmm.
Uh,
For sure.
this Resurrection had parts of that struck me like that, and had parts of that where I was very involved in the plot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I truly had no idea what the fuck was happening during the hearing segment.
That's
Like,
classic noir, classic noir cinema.
It's a theremin. That's what it is. It's a theremin.
It's a damn
what is that?
theremin.
What does that mean? What is that supposed to mean to me? Play the Star
Yeah,
Trek
that's what
theme
it
on that
is.
bitch or be quiet.
Hit me up with some good vibrations.
Just and then I was bored as hell by the monk segment.
Ah,
Sorry. Maybe it'll
Uh-oh.
ah,
maybe
Uh-oh.
we'll
ah,
We're gonna
maybe
be
we'll
here for another
ah,
hour.
ah.
We're gonna be here
maybe
for
we'll
another
come
hour, and
back
I'm gonna have to
around
hear
on
about
the
the piss
second
frog.
viewing now that I have a grasp on the thing as a whole.
Yeah,
Uh and I really liked Paper Moon-ish segment, and then
Yeah.
the last two and the last one and the coda, if we will, just like
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
bleh. Uh by the
The
way, I wish I said this to you all, but I wish I had video of my face when I saw the title card score by M83 come across the
Yeah,
The
screen. I
yeah.
was
music
like,
Oh
in this
boy.
is so good.
Yeah,
the score of the life.
yeah. It's incredible. The
Yeah.
soundscape too. So
Uh-huh.
just getting into segments. My least favorite segment, I think maybe the consensus for most people would be the hearing one, the noir. That's my least favorite. I think it's a little bit more narratively engaged than the rest of them, which I don't actually think is much of a plus. Because it's like suddenly I'm like following this plot and doing all this, like I sure. But the sound in that segment is what I no shit, it's the
Yeah.
hearing segment. Duh. But the bit where he's in that torture chamber and you're hearing clank, clank, clank of the chains as he's being lifted, and the guy slowly coming down the spiral stairs. Just
Hmm.
and the muffled theremin after the ears have been popped and everything.
Yeah.
Fuck. Like, such a cool theater movie for sure.
Yeah. Just really basking in every single detail. And this movie is so full of detail.
Hmm. For sure. I'll level. I mean, I guess I have two hot takes. I'll come to the later one next. The hotter of the two takes, I think, is that the vampire is not one of my favorite segments. Not an indictment. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's anything less than superb. It just isn't fully as my shits as some of the other ones. I guess because one, the one take thing is very impressive. particularly when you're on that barge at the end and you see the sun come up over the horizon. Dog, what the fuck?
I was
Like
my soul was floating somewhere in the air above me.
that was insane. I don't want to think about what it takes to prep that
I
or execute that.
I am an atheist, but I felt God in that moment.
Did you ever see Russian Ark, by the way?
Oh yeah, no, I love that movie.
Okay, good, good. I figured that you would. I rewatched that last year. That is a fucking heater. That is such a great movie. But a lot of times the one take thing, it's impressive. There's no way to say that it's not impressive. I, is there anything in this segment that is improved by the fact that it never cuts? Or can we admit that it's kind of a gimmick? It doesn't have to mean that you think any less of it if you agree with this. I'm just wondering, are any of the other segments any worse because we edited it? I just, there's something about that that doesn't quite love the
I think
piano
what
teacher, for example. Piano teacher, code unknown, super long tracking shots. Hanukkah likes them because the characters get to stay in character.
mhm.
We don't have to break it and set it up. But both of those movies still have editing. I mean, Resurrection still has editing, but that just feels a little like a stunt to me more than a choice.
I mean, it's a bit of a stunt, but I think the choice to do it is that it builds the momentum of going up the street and down the street and around the
Mhm.
street and into the alleyway and out of the alleyway and
I think
going
you would still
underneath the
have that if you had
construction
cuts. If you
and
just had
in the rain.
long takes with cuts still gets you there. But I get it. I'm not, I don't
It,
know why I'm
I
so
think
inclined to pick, but I feel like that's why people have it so high. One of the reasons is because that thing impresses them. And I'm like, yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. The other thing, sorry, you should finish what you were going to say, Morgan. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
yeah, I mean it doesn't impress me as much as like it's like 3 times as long, maybe more than that, as the oneer in se episode 4 of season 1 of True Detective. That
Right.
impresses me far more than this does, and is like
The tension.
inarguably necessary to how that episode and that show flows.
Right.
Um, but like to me, that this actually embodied the phrase "long day's journey into night" much better than
Oh, I
how
like
that
that.
movie's long take went down.
Yeah, I like that.
Because you are being thrust into this world, and little
Yeah.
bits of information are revealed. I think this is what it is. It's the pace of the reveal of information
Yeah.
in
yeah.
that long take that I don't think would be as compelling if it wasn't all, you know, at least tracking consistently in that
Right,
way.
right, right.
hmm
I I love the part of the fifth segment where you see the movie screen outside and they're showing the
Yeah.
silent movie and then the crowd goes and they're kind of like taking it down and you're like doing the Koyaanisqatsi like hyperspeed, hyperspeed, hyperspeed,
Yeah.
hyperspeed stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's so cool. Like that is
hmm
such a cool scene. I think the other thing that I would say is like and we've made comparisons here, Lady from Shanghai, Paper Moon being the two most prominent, Murnau being another one. Kim Ki-duk, I guess, would be the one that I would go to for the other. This is also the one that's like the most fallen angels, and like I'm not saying that the aesthetic is in any way less than cool or dope. Feels a little done. Like I've seen this. This is all of Long Day's Journey into Night is a lot like that segment to me, and I don't love that movie as much as I love Resurrection. I if the entire movie was this vampire segment, I'd probably still give it like a 4 star or whatever rating, but I wouldn't love it as much as I do with all of the other shit that it has that builds to those scenes. Maybe that's the right way to put it.
Yeah. I,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can isolate any of these and have it
No, no,
any of it be
no.
as
They
good.
have to. They
no,
all
no,
have to go together.
that's the beauty about this as an anthology film is that it's not really that much of an anthology film, even though like it is technically, but it all builds into each other.
Yeah.
You're peeling back layer by
If it were
layer.
more of a traditional anthology, I might still love it, but I would be way more hesitant on it. But whether it's the
hmm
Buddhism theming, which I didn't even pick up on the first time I saw it, Cole and I talked about it later, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you would like the taste segment." And I was like, "Oh, oh, oh." Like I never even thought about it. But they did still feel cohesive and cumulative in a way that a
hmm
lot of anthologies just don't.
Yeah.
The thing
It
about the
was
temple
really
scene is my
just
ass was fucking, my spirit came out through my eyeballs when the snoring thing is happening, especially. I just love it. It's so tender. I love the concept of like a god of bitterness who's always smoking the last quarter of a cigarette, just a constantly lit, but just like that much of it. I don't know, man. I could totally, I no judgment. I just fucking was floating. Unbelievable. I was
part
so
of
in
it.
love with that.
uh, Two things. one, just as an aside, it was very upsetting to me to learn that Jackson Yee is younger than me. Uh, and the second thing is, I think I was just completely wrong-footed by how the hearing segment
Yeah,
is like flows to go from how like densely plotted
right. And
that
then
segment is, and to have it all be basically nonsense, respectfully, in that segment, to something that like it just is like the flow of it. I was
yeah,
just like,
Uh-huh.
I don't know what the fuck I'm watching, dude. Which sometimes is an extremely valuable experience, and at least
yeah,
on the first
Hmm.
go around was
yeah,
just like disorienting, and I didn't love it.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. I would
Yeah.
I made the comparison already. I would strongly recommend checking out Spring Summer at some point. Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter, and Spring. It's
Hmm.
not no by no means is it the same movie, but you can tell by the seasons that it's got a segmented structure. And the entire thing takes place at this temple, and it's just like ethereal and I'm sure a little boring for the right wrong audience member. I should say like the wrong audience member probably would find that boring, but there's something so hypnotic in that. And that's how I would describe this movie. It's a long sit though, for sure. And I think that I wouldn't cut anything from it, but when you're maybe on the wrong foot or if anything kind of trips you up, it's like we are going to be sitting here for a long time. But I would
Hmm.
say that the smell and vampire touch segments near the end really help because both of those are just very immediate, particularly the smell segment. Just rich character right off the bat, funny,
Hmm.
really, really just like fundamental good storytelling.
Yeah, these selection that they decided to tell the segments in, it's perfectly sequenced for that
I definitely,
crescendo.
where you go from like, yeah, the silent thing where you're just melting into the imagery to all of a sudden you're like, we have sound now, so the plot's like fucking plot, 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 plot,
Hmm.
and you're kind of upshifting, downshifting, things like that. I definitely would have loved to catch a second screening of this too, but we probably only had it for a couple weeks here. Just had other stuff going on in early Jan, but thrilled to get to see it. They did play Long Days as well in theaters, but I missed that because it was at like 9:30 at night, and I just was like, nah, I'm not gonna go do that right now. If it
9:30 on
was
Sunday.
9:30 on like a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah, that's tough. Do that on a Sunday, please.
Yeah.
Sunday 4 p.m.
Hmm. But yeah, I mean, again, like I'm not the hyperbolic kind of person. I would put this up with 2001 and Stalker and Mulholland Drive and The Wizard of Oz.
Mm,
It's
mm,
that good to me.
mm. I would definitely need more time with it to get to that place, but so compelling, totally unique. I mean, I think Morgan's a great case study here of your mileage may vary with this one, but I don't think anybody would ever regret taking a dice roll on it because
Hmm.
it's indebted to a lot of other cinema things, but it's otherwise quite unlike things that you've ever seen and fun and playful.
Yeah.
When I think about that vampire segment, I think about the guy drinking his fucking Pepsi, doing karaoke, just
Hmm.
like off the wall, funny,
Yeah.
creative. Yeah, special movie. I mean, it's really, really
Yeah.
quite something.
That's what I love about it so much is that movies can be literally anything, and this is the best example of that I can recall, and
Yeah.
God knows how long.
Hmm. But you also hate Waking Life, you fucking bastard.
Okay, enough.
I
The
know
less said about that, the better.
I told Cole about this, but my favorite thing in like the Cunny's cutscene, like just hypercut thing, is there's a little interview with the vampire poster on the
Oh
wall.
yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
love
so
that.
great.
Yeah. What a movie. I mean, truly. Cole and I just also did a Ghost Story, which is a short film by Begon that he just did a few years ago.
Hmm.
And no idea what the fuck happened in that movie, but you can feel how it was building towards this. The short fiction, very dreamy,
Hmm.
very imagistic.
Some train stuff.
Yeah, opening up the train and suddenly reframing the shot. And yeah, yeah, gorgeous. I mean, visually, just one of our best guys, 100%
Hmm.
right now. Really, really exciting filmmaker.
Yeah, and it was great
I
to
love.
because I saw this at Beyond Fest and he was there for a Q&A afterwards. So it was really great to hear him like pick apart his brain and talk about how he came to this. So
Hmm. What were you saying, Morgan?
I love trains.
Me too.
That's what I was saying.
they're
Yeah,
cool.
they are cool. Well, that's another year. We probably didn't hit every movie that everybody loves, but oh well.
Do we want
You know,
to reveal like our original top tens?
yeah, sure,
I can
drop
do
it.
that, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta pull mine up, but yeah,
So that way everyone gets like a greater sense of
I'm pretty sure
how we came
most
to
of
the list that
mine.
we came with.
Yeah, I think most of mine have been talked about at least a little bit. We'll just keep to the order that we presented in. So mine, I'll just go 10 to 1. Hamnet by Chloe Zhao, Black Bag by Stevie Soderbergh, Cover Up by Laura Poitras and Mark. I forget. Sorry, buddy. I forget your name. I'm not looking it up right now. Seven, One Battle After Another, Paul Thomas Anderson. Number six, Sentimental Value by Joachim Trier. Five, Resurrection by Begon. Four, Afternoons of Solitude by Albert Serra. Three, The Secret Agent by Kleber Filho. Two, It Was Just an Accident by Jafar Panahi. And strong number one, No Other Choice, Park Chan-wook.
More like Park Chan-wook. Doesn't even mean
Park,
anything.
Park Chan-goat.
That's what Goat was about, then I would actually go see it.
Yeah.
You're too small to be a director.
Somebody should have told Roman Polanski that. We could have avoided a whole lot of heartbreak. Uh, yeah. So my top 10 is also Chloe Zhao's Hamnet. Number 9, Ryan Johnson's Wake Up, Deadman. Number 8, Coogler's Sinners. Number 7, Filio's Secret Agent. Number 6, Big Jim Gunn's Superman. Uh, 5, Zach Cregger's Weapons. 4, Lynn Ramsey's Die My Love. 3, Panahi's Un Simple Accident. Number 2, Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another. And emphatic number 1, Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice.
My number 10 is a tie between Radu's Dracula and Ryan Coogler's Sinners. My number 9 is Silent Friends by, I'm going to mess up her name, Eldiko Enyedi. She's the director of On Body and Soul, that Hungarian Oscar nominee from a while
Hmm.
back. Just to give everyone a really quick idea on what this movie is about a ginkgo tree on a German university. And it's set in 1910, 1972, and 2020. Tony Leung is in one of the stories, and Lea Seydoux is in two of them.
Hmm.
It's really cool. I hope that
I,
gets released literally sometime, anytime. Someone put it out, please, for the love of God.
I like Yes,
But
I do. I like that now.
she's great in it. My number 8 is The Testament of Anne Lee, directed by Mona Vastfold. My number 7 is Sentimental Value, directed by Joachim Trier. My number 6 is The Secret Agent, directed by Kleber Mendoza Filho. My number 5 is Magellan, directed by Laud Diaz. Number 4, Sound of Falling, directed by Masha Solinsky. Number 3, It Was Just an Accident, directed by Jafar Panahi. Number 2, No Other Choice, directed by Park Chan-wook. And number 1, With a Bullet, Resurrection by Begon.
Great year. Really fun. America not holding up their end of the bargain, but that's okay. International. It's a really
I,
international flavored year for my list for sure. Probably the
yeah,
most
my
the
list.
most for a while in that direction.
Yeah, my list basically told America to go fuck itself.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, just, we didn't have that Honora Oppenheimer crawling into the top 10 type. I mean, I've got American movies in my top 10, but even then, the only real big one
Hmm.
is One Battle, and everything else is a little bit, more under the radar. I mean,
Yeah.
Hamnet's not under the radar, but you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It does. The only thing I would say is that it does start to get pretty soft after that for me. Like lots of sevens, lots of light eights, but not a huge depth of things I got really passionate about. Few things that just didn't really work as much as I would have hoped. Like Kurosawa's Cloud, Testament of Anne Lee just didn't 100% stick with me, but nevertheless, really really good year, really solid year, and
Yeah.
we'll be interested to see. When it comes to Oscars, I'm really rooting for anything Secret Agent and anything It Was Just an Accident. Anything that those two movies win is a huge huge get. And then, whatever for the rest of it, we'll see how it goes. Fuck
Yeah.
Frankenstein. Zach's out. Bye.
Frankenstein's gonna pick up a couple. that's for
Yeah,
sure.
animation bitch.
Costumes, production design, makeup for sure.
I hope
I,
Sinners blows it out of the water.
Sinners will undoubtedly win a couple of things.
the production design of Sinners is vastly superior to the
Yeah,
production design of
Yeah,
Frankenstein.
agreed.
yeah,
It
no
just
question.
is.
No question. No question. Well,
It'd be a
this
cool
has
win
been
for
fun.
Jack Fisk, I guess, because he's never won.
That would be a good win for him. Everybody, thank you guys all so much for listening. In the comments, maybe just tell us what some of your favorite movies are, or did we mention them? Did we forget any? Is there anything that we haven't caught up with? Who knows? I'm sure I'll still be watching some 2025 movies here and there, even though we have started to split and pivot into the new year. There's always something for me to catch up with. So it's been fun.
Always catching up to me.
Yeah, well, hey, I like catching up. No problem. No skin off my back, really. It sucks when you gotta wait 6 months to do it, but you know, it's all good. They're still there, and I like watching old stuff anyway. Believe our next episode, I don't know exactly when we'll get around to sitting and recording it, but our next episode will be on Wuthering Heights by Emerald Fennell, unless we change our minds and decide to do something else. So we'll pop back into the new year and new releases very soon. Thank you guys all so much for listening. Bye, everybody.
I will be talking about Charlie XCX for the entire episode, which I'm sure will go over swimmingly with the both of you.
I think
I,
Morgan
I
likes Charlie XCX.
eh,
Okay. Yeah, that's about where I'm at too,
Wuthering Heights is Brat.
no,
I
it isn't.
guess.
No, I refuse that.
I think Catherine is like anti-Brat in most ways. She literally chooses to be like the Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
That is
no,
the
she's
choice
not.
that she makes.
Heathcliff is Brat.
Heathcliff is something. That's for sure. That's for sure.
The Michael Jordan of being a son of a bitch.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Nellie's kind of Brat when I think about it.
God.
Isabella Linton is Brat.
Oh God, absolutely.
Uh, well, gang, thanks for joining. Thanks for spending the time, and we look forward to talking to you about some new movies down the road.
Ciao.